Brother, what's wrong with you? This time we've completely failed, and we're despised by others. It's so embarrassing. On a rock on a high mountain, the two of them sat there dejectedly, and Ammonian couldn't help complaining. They had just experienced a bloody battle and faced the attacks of so many Five Veins heavenly saints. They were exhausted. After being rescued, they were irritated by Jiang Yue's arrogant attitude. Long Chun spread his hands and said helplessly, "What can I do? I haven't reached the conditions to condense the heaven vein dragon chi. I guess you are the same." "Of course I can. I haven't found the infinite source yet. That is the origin treasure of my Wuliang Palace lineage. I need to find it before I can condense the heaven vein dragon chi exclusive to the Wuliang lineage. However, under the earth, I have been searching for so many days, but there is no clue. Just came out to take a breath and met a group of lunatics chasing me. I don't even know them," Ammonian said with a look of grievance. Long Chun looked at Ammonian with disdain. Who would believe this? There are countless opportunities in the Tianmai Shen realm. Who would chase someone for no reason and give up the opportunity to find treasure? Ammonian must have done something that angered the heavens and the people, so he was hunted down. Before entering the Tianmai Shen realm, when Ammonian opened his mouth, someone came out to angrily rebuke him. It was known that Ammonian must have done a lot of bad things in the Tianyuan world. "What's your situation? Why did you provoke so many people?" Ammonian asked. "Like you, I have bad luck and met a lunatic," Long Chun said unhappily. Ammonian's old face suddenly blushed. He knew that Long Chun didn't believe what he said, but when he thought that Long Chun must have done nothing good, everyone was the same, and no one had the right to laugh at anyone. "Okay, I have to go, and continue to look for opportunities exclusive to my Wuliang lineage underground. If I encounter good things, I will keep them for you." Ammonian stood up and said. At this time, he had just experienced a big battle and needed to rest the most. But in order to find the opportunity of Wuliang lineage as soon as possible, he dared not delay at all. "Underground? Your Wuliang lineage's opportunity is underground?" Long Chen asked. "Not bad. My wicked master said that my opportunity is always underground. So I live in darkness all day long," Ammonian said with a sad face. "The most annoying thing is that I have no idea about the Wuliang lineage's opportunity. Only know that there must be countless treasures around the Wuliang lineage's opportunity, but just relying on this clue, I want to find it, which is tantamount to looking for a needle in a haystack. Do I have to turn the entire Tianmai Shenjing upside down?" At this point, Ammonian was annoyed. This difficulty was too great. "Underground, wait a minute. Maybe this thing will be useful to you." After Long Chen finished speaking, he took out the treasure wheel. When Ammonian saw the treasure wheel, his eyes were straight. Obviously, Ammonian, who had been dealing with such treasures all his life, saw its use at a glance. "Good brother. You are really my brother. I need this thing too much." Ammonian took the treasure wheel and was so excited that his voice trembled. Ammonian has a special magical power that allows him to travel underground and search for treasures. However, even though Ammonian is good at observing wind and water and is proficient in the way of earth veins, he can still judge whether there are treasures nearby from some clues. But even if he judges that there are treasures, it takes a certain amount of time to find them accurately. Now that he has this treasure hunting roulette, it is like adding wings to a tiger. This treasure hunting roulette can only exert its greatest power in his hands. Not only can he accurately locate the treasure from the fluctuations of the wheel, he can even know the shape, properties, and other conditions of the treasure from the changes on the runes. This is something that Long Chun can never do. After getting the treasure hunting wheel, Ammonian almost hugged Long Chun and kissed him. This was simply a timely help. "Since you have the treasure hunting wheel, you should rest for half a day before leaving. Otherwise, in your current state, if you encounter a strong enemy, you will die," Long Chun reminded. I was chased by someone before. That was because I was careless. I will never let this happen again. In addition, there are countless geniuses and monsters in this Tianmai Shenjing. You see that Jiang Yue has reached the level of Seven Veins Heavenly Saint. We must also condense the Tianmai as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they reach the level of 9 veins heavenly saint, I am afraid that there will be no place for you and me in the entire Tianmai Shenjing. When the time comes, if there is a chance, we can only watch others take it away. Mo Nian said. Long Chen nodded. Mo Nian was right. Jiang Yui's strength was extremely terrifying. Although they had not fought, she stood in front of Long Chen, and the strong sense of oppression was suffocating. The more powerful the Tianjiao, the stronger the Tianmai dragon qi condensed. Now Mo Nian and Long Chen were really in too much danger. Mo Nian and Long Chen patted each other on the shoulders, said take care, and then Mo Nian rushed away and disappeared in an instant. Long Chen was not so anxious. He needed to adjust himself. He found a hidden place, set up an illusion array, and began to adjust his breath. In this battle, Long Chen was exhausted. The power of dragon blood, purple blood, 7-color supreme blood, and star power were almost exhausted. There were too many enemies, and Mo Nian was not good at close combat. It can be said that most of the attacks were borne by him. The opponent relied on the large number of people and saw that the two had no power to counterattack, so they could go all out to kill them without any worries. Fortunately, these people were eager to win and attacked frantically. As a result, the battle circle was very small, causing Long Chen and Mo Nian to only withstand the attacks of a few people at most each time, forming a round-robin battle. If this group of people were not so impatient and kept their distance, hundreds of people would attack at the same time, and the power would be concentrated together. Long Chen and Mo Nian would not be able to withstand even one move. Of course, these people attacked so frantically because they actually wanted to capture them alive, especially Long Chen's enemies. They knew that Long Chen must have a mountain of treasures in his hands. Capturing a living Long Chen was equivalent to capturing a mobile treasure house. The greed of these people saved Long Chen's life, but this battle was too thrilling. Both Long Chen and Mo Nian were a little scared. After making all preparations, Long Chen began to concentrate and calm down. He slowly closed his eyes, and dots of starlight appeared around him. Among the many powers, he chose to restore the power of the stars first. On the one hand, it was because his star power was the most powerful and strong, and on the other hand, the recovery of star power was also the fastest. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The sea of stars slowly emerged behind Long Chen. However, what surprised Long Chen was that his star vision actually fluctuated violently. At the same time, Long Chen also clearly felt that endless star energy was pouring towards him. This star power was extremely pure, which Long Chen had never encountered before. If it was just pure, it would not be a problem. After all, this was the heavenly vein profound realm. However, this star power did not come from the 9 heavens, but from the right front of Long Chen. At that moment, Long Chen's heart was beating wildly. My chance to condense the heavenly vein dragon qi has come. In excitement, Long Chen took out a piece of purple crystal while recovering the power of stars and looked in that direction. This purple crystal was the purple crystal sky pupil. Long Chen had been busy with treasure hunting before, using the treasure hunting wheel, and had never used it. Oh my God! When Long Chen looked forward through the purple crystal sky pupil, he saw a sea of stars, and he was so excited that he trembled all over. It was a vast blue lake, and no one knew how it was formed. The lake surface was as smooth as a mirror, but the lake was a sea of stars. It was like a skylight in the world, through which you could see the bright starry sky. Above the lake, the fairy air was steaming, and the power of the heavenly way was lingering. You could see with the naked eye that the endless laws of heaven and earth were flowing. Around the lake, countless figures were lingering there, absorbing the ripples on the lake's surface. The dragon energy of the sky veins around them was surging. Long Chen found that there was a faint starlight flashing in their dragon energy of the sky veins. At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. Wasn't this lake of stars his opportunity? That's all mine. Long Chen shouted excitedly. Long Chen circulated the power of the stars to quickly recover his physical strength. After several hours, Long Chen's star power was restored to about 80%. He could no longer bear it and went straight to the star lake. Before, Ding told him that if he wanted to condense the dragon energy of the sky vein, he must find his own opportunity. When Long Chun asked it what the opportunity was, at least it gave him a direction to work hard. But Ding told him that when the opportunity appeared, he would naturally know. Now, Long Chun understood what Ding meant. This star lake was the opportunity for him to condense the dragon energy of the sky vein. He was completely sure of it. However, since it was his opportunity, why didn't it call him, and he didn't feel it, which was very strange. Ha! Long Chun flew forward quickly. With the purple crystal sky pupil, it seemed close at hand, but Long Chun flew for a full 3 hours before he saw the edge of the star lake. This star lake was larger than Long Chun imagined. It looked endless to the naked eye. Get out of here. Heavenly demon territory. Anyone who approaches will die. However, before Long Chun arrived at the lake, the space fluctuations came, and someone here actually set up a barrier to intercept outsiders. Boom! How could Long Chun indulge it? The Heavenly Demon Alliance was his enemy, not his friend. Long Chun didn't need to worry about anything when he took action. He grabbed the barrier with his big hand in the air, and it exploded. This barrier was just a warning used by the Heavenly Demon Clan to warn others that there was already a master here. If you want to get close to this star lake, just change places. Therefore, this barrier is not strong. Long Chun tore the barrier apart, which was equivalent to ignoring the other party's warning and challenging the other party. Stupid human race. You are looking for death. Long Chun had just rushed through the barrier when suddenly a roar came, and a strong man covered with black scales and demonic energy rushed towards Long Chun. Black Rock 9 Nether Python? You actually joined the Heavenly Demon Alliance. Long Chun didn't expect that this group of people was actually the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan that Long Chun had met before. The Black Rock 9 Nether Python had had a feud with Long Chun before, but the Black Rock 9 Nether Python in front of him was not the low-level creature he had encountered before. The fact that these Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan members were able to guard the edge of the barrier meant that they were just sentinels. But they had already condensed 3 heavenly veins of dragon chi, and their blood and energy were astonishing. Foolish! My Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan has been a member of the Heavenly Demon Alliance since its inception. What do you mean by joining it? One of them hesitated for a moment when he saw that Long Chun recognized their identities, and shouted coldly, "Why waste your words on him?" He dared to ignore the warning of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan and destroy the barrier. It will be regarded as a provocation. Kill him. A strong man from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan had a hot temper and had no intention of stopping. He held a steel fork and stabbed at Long Chun with a whistling wind. Puff! Long Chun took a step and passed by him. The strong man from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan raised his huge head to the sky. No one could see clearly how Long Chun did it. They even saw that Long Chun had nothing in his hands and did not use any weapons at all. Death! Long Chun killed the strong man. The other strong men from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan were shocked and angry, and their murderous aura suddenly soared to the sky. Puff, puff, puff. Long Chun's figure flashed, and the lightning flashed. The strong men from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan all froze, and a blood hole appeared on the center of each of their eyebrows. Their eyes were full of disbelief, and then their bodies slowly fell to the ground, and their consciousness fell into darkness. Beautiful! Long Chun praised loudly. Lei Linger's thunder power became stronger and stronger, and more condensed. At this time, a small thunder dagger on his fingertips slowly disappeared. This is thanks to Brother Long Chun for decomposing so many corpses. Lei Linger was immediately excited when she heard Long Chun's praise. During this period, Long Chun kept throwing various corpses into the chaotic space. The thunder power released by these God Emperor-level monsters was all swallowed by her, and her strength soared wildly. These God Emperor-level monsters have experienced the God Emperor's heavenly tribulation. After the baptism of the heavenly tribulation, their flesh and bones have the mark of the heavenly tribulation. When the black soil swallows them, these marks will be released. They are not thunder monsters, and the thunder power rich in the thunder mark is not much, but it is extremely pure. After absorbing enough thunder marks, Lei Linger's thunder power has undergone a qualitative change. The thunder power is more condensed, and the thunder weapon she condensed has amazing destructive power. Boom boom. However, the killing of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan strongmen immediately caused a huge sensation. In the direction of the Star Lake, countless figures rushed towards Long Chun like a tide. At this time, Long Chun had already seen the Star Lake. In the Star Lake, the endless stars suddenly swayed, as if it had also seen Long Chun. That moment, a strong sense of intimacy and calling rose in Long Chun's heart. Looking at the strong men of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan who were bathing at the edge of the Star Lake and absorbing energy, Long Chun suddenly felt murderous. A group of dirty long worms. You dare to blaspheme the Star Lake? All of you die. Buzz. Long Chun opened his hands, and the divine light lit up. In an instant, it was like a sun blooming from Long Chun's hands, and the breath of destruction swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Boom! Long Chun pushed his hands, and the huge ball of light whistled towards the endless Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan strongmen in front of him. Puff, puff, puff. Long Chun's move was too fast. Such a large-scale move was completed in an instant. The strong men of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan had no time to react. They were hit by the thunderball and turned into dust in an instant. Boom! The thunderball rolled down like a meteorite. Wherever it passed, all flesh and blood turned into dust. It was unstoppable. With a loud bang, the huge thunderball exploded, and a huge figure holding a golden sky-supporting fork appeared. The owner of the fork shattered the thunderball and roared, "Damn human race! Who gave you the courage to challenge the great? Pa!" Before he could finish his roar, a big hand covered with stars slapped him hard in the face. That was a powerful 5 veins heavenly saint, with amazing aura and terrifying strength. Otherwise he would not have been able to shatter Long Chun's lightning ball. This person was powerful, and powerful people are often very conceited. He used the golden heavenly fork to shatter the lightning ball, wanting to see who dared to challenge the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan. However, before the thunder and lightning in the sky dissipated, a big hand slapped him in the face. From the appearance of the hand to the slap, he could not sense any danger. Pa! The big hand covered with stars slapped his face, and the whole person was slapped and flew up. A group of strong men behind him were hit by him and were directly shattered. Who? Long Chun succeeded in one blow, stepped on the void, and flew towards the 5 veins heavenly saint of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan like a flash of lightning, and at the same time a thunder spear appeared in his hand. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The thunder spear appeared, and the thunder flowed wildly, and endless thunder runes gathered. When the thunder spear appeared, the whole world trembled, and the aura of destruction changed the color of the universe. Crazy thunder battle spirit spear. Long Chun shouted, and the spear surged, piercing the void. It was a very ordinary move, but now Lei Linger's crazy thunder power has reached an extremely terrifying level. Ordinary moves can also burst out with the power of destroying the world. Long Chun first used a slap without any killing intent to repel the 5 veins heavenly saint of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan. This attack was the real killing move. 9 Nether Blood Slash. The 5 veins heavenly saint of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan was slapped by Long Chun, and was furious. Seeing Long Chun's killing move, he didn't think of resisting, but attacked with attack. Obviously, he was already mad. Boom! The thunder spear collided with the golden heavenly fork, and the loud noise shocked the sky. Long Chun groaned and stepped back a few steps, while the 5 veins heavenly saint of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan spurted out a mouthful of blood. Long Chun was shocked. Although they were both 5 veins heavenly saints, this 5 veins heavenly saint from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan was much stronger than the one he and Monyen had encountered before. Long Chun had an absolute advantage, but this full-strength attack still couldn't seriously injure him. It seemed that the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan should not be underestimated. Whoosh! The thunder wings behind Long Chun trembled, and with a flash, he appeared beside the man, with an extremely fast speed. Whoosh! The man was horrified, and he struck hard with the golden sky-supporting fork in his hand, trying to buy himself a chance to breathe. However, what shocked him was that when his golden sky-supporting fork struck out, Long Chen's figure disappeared. He realized at this time that it was just a residual image of Long Chun. Not good. The 5 Veins heavenly saint from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan was horrified and was about to make a move. Puff! The thunder spear had already pierced through his back and penetrated his chest. His solid scales could not defend against this thunder spear at all. Die! Long Chen snorted coldly. Lightning flashed on the thunder spear. With a loud bang, the 5 Veins heavenly saint of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan was killed by Long Chun. Damn human race, you will pay for your blood debt with blood today. Long Chun had just killed the strong man when several roars came. Then more than a dozen terrifying auras attacked. There were actually more than a dozen 5 Veins heavenly saints rushing from the direction of the Star Lake at the same time. Damn! Am I afraid of you? Long Chun was furious. He was about to enter the Star Lake, but this group of young people tried their best to stop him. Boom! Long Chun was also ruthless. Facing more than a dozen 5 Veins heavenly saints, he rushed forward with a thunder spear in his hand. Boom, boom, boom. More than a dozen 5 Veins heavenly saint-level strongmen. Long Chen's thunder spear was full of lightning, breaking through their blockade and killing one person. However, Long Chun was also injured with a large cut on his back. His invincible Starry Sky battle suit could no longer provide him with effective protection in the face of the terrifying power of the 5 Veins heavenly saint. Buzz! Just as Long Chun was about to approach the Star Lake, a huge wave suddenly appeared in the lake, and a snake tail covered with scales, like a whip of the gods, lashed at Long Chun fiercely. In the terrifying chi and blood power, 6 heavenly veins dragon chi could be seen entangled. Before the first blow arrived, the terrifying pressure had already made Long Chun feel suffocated. 6 Veins heavenly saint? Long Chun was shocked and angry. This Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan actually had a monster of the 6 Veins heavenly saint level. The most terrifying thing was that the power of these 6 heavenly veins dragon chi had completely merged with chi and blood, which meant that this person was not just a 6-veined person. 1000 Thunder Shield. Facing such a terrifying blow, Long Chun formed seals with both hands, and the power of thunder condensed. A thunder shield emerged, and the moment the thunder shield emerged, it instantly layered, forming 1,000 thin thunder shields. Boom, boom, boom. No one expected that the paper-thin thunder shields would explode continuously, but with each explosion of the shields, the power of the snake tail was rapidly consumed. Finally, when there were only 23 shields left, the power of this attack was completely consumed, and the snake tail could no longer break through. Boom! Suddenly, the Star Lake was agitated, and a huge head broke out of the water. It was a giant python head, like a mountain, with a pair of cold pupils staring at Long Chun, and suddenly it opened its mouth. Buzz! A blood-colored divine light shot out at Long Chun. As soon as the divine light appeared, Long Chun immediately felt something was wrong. The thunder wings trembled, and the figure disappeared instantly. Ha! The ground behind Long Chun was pierced by the blood-colored divine light, and a loud noise broke out. On the ground, a large hole with a diameter of 1,000 miles appeared. The ground did not deform, but everything in the hole disappeared silently. Seeing this scene, Long Chun couldn't help but feel his scalp tingling. Long Chun had seen this attack before. It was one of Xiao Yun's magical powers. It was a kind of annihilation force. If he was hit by it, he would die. Damn human race! Are you only able to dodge? At this moment, a cold female voice came, and then the giant python disappeared, and a woman in a black robe appeared in front of Long Chun. Her eyes were vertical pupils which looked so strange and so terrifying. Being stared at by, it was like being under the fangs of a poisonous snake, which made people's hair stand up. The woman put away her body, turned into a human form, stood in front of Long Chun, and blocked Long Chen's way. 6 heavenly veins of dragon energy flowed around the woman, and there was also a transparent wave that was also running. Obviously, she had begun to prepare to condense the 7th heavenly vein of dragon energy. It's okay to be ugly, but your mouth is so stinky. You, the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan, are really unpleasant. Long Chin sneered. Obviously, today's matter cannot be resolved peacefully. The power of thunder circulated around Long Chun, forming chains of thunder. What no one knew was that some of the chains fell and silently invaded the earth, and slowly penetrated into the sea of stars from under the earth. Tell me your name. I Yentong will not kill nameless people. The woman stretched out her hand, and a black broadsword appeared in her hand. While she was speaking, tens of millions of strong men surrounded this place. In addition to the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan, there were many other races. However, before Long Chun could reply, a vicious voice came. Damn Long Chun, you damned bastard. Where are you going to escape today? The voice was filled with strong murderous intent, and every word was shot out from between his teeth. Long Chun looked in the direction of the voice, and then he found a familiar face. That person was none other than Chun Feng from the Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan. Last time, Long Chun knocked him down with a brick and robbed his golden sword, which was regarded as a lifelong shame by Long Chun, and he vowed to kill Long Chun for revenge. Now seeing Long Chun again, his eyes almost burned with flames. Behind him, the 2 women from the Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan also had murderous eyes, as if they wanted to eat Long Chun alive. At this time, Chun Feng was already a 6-veined heavenly saint, and the 2 women had also advanced to 5-veined heavenly saint. Their promotion speed was really amazing. In addition to the 3 of them, there were countless strong men who surrounded them. These strong men came from different races. There were 7 6-veined heavenly saints alone, and hundreds of 5-veined heavenly saints. At this time, Long Chun was surrounded by death. Long Chun? Is he the Long Chun that senior brother Ho Yang said we should be careful of? When hearing Chun Feng's words, Yen Tong, a member of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan, had a light flashing in his eyes, with a hint of disbelief. Yes, it's him. This person is extremely sinister, cunning, and good at sneak attacks and escapes. However, today he has no chance. Everyone pay attention. No matter what he does, take action at the first time and kill him with all your strength. Don't let him escape. Chun Feng had experienced the power of the heaven-flipping seal and warned everyone. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Following Chen Feng's warning, everyone took out their weapons, and the terrifying power of destiny locked onto Long Chun at the same time. As long as Long Chun made any suspicious moves, they would burst out with all their strength and would never give Long Chun the opportunity to use his magic weapons. However, facing the lock of so many people, Long Chun did not show any abnormality. The power of thunder flowed around him, and the stars trembled. He just looked at everyone coldly. I heard that you are the descendant of the 9 stars, but is it true? Yen Tong looked at Long Chun and said coldly, What do you think? Long Chun did not answer directly, but said lightly. At this moment, he was quietly using the thunder chain to slowly probe the power of the stars from under the earth to the star lake. Everyone was confused by his thunder power and did not notice Long Chen's little action at all. 9-star descendant? When Yen Tong said this name, countless strong people present exclaimed. Is he really the 9-star descendant? Known as the strongest warrior in the 9 heavens and 10 earths? Are you kidding? If he is really the 9-star descendant, how long has it been, and he hasn't even condensed a heavenly vein dragon chi? Is he a fake? For a while, countless people talked about it. Although they were basically monsters sealed in ancient times, they had heard of the 9-star descendant but had never seen one. Now hearing this word, looking at Long Chun again, it seems that Long Chen's image is far worse than the legendary invincible existence. Although Long Chen's thunder power is amazing, because he does not have the blessing of heavenly vein dragon chi and cannot use the power of heaven, the threat to them is very small. This person is very strong. He didn't even condense a single heavenly vein dragon chi, but he was able to break through the blockade of more than a dozen of us. If he condensed heavenly vein dragon chi, he would be even more amazing. Perhaps he is really the descendant of 9 stars. A strong man from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan said. Forget it. You Black Rock 9 Nether Pythons are not very strong. But you are good at flattering yourself. If you lose, you lose. Why do you want to raise the value of others? Will this save you from embarrassment? At this time a sarcastic voice came. You! The strong man from the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan was furious. What do you mean by you? You Black Rock 9 Nether Pythons are originally a group of inferior races. If it weren't for Yen Tong, who became the maid of senior brother Ho Yang, would you Black Rock 9 Nether Pythons have the right to speak here? The weird voice sounded again. The speaker was a woman with an ugly face. She had a big forehead and a pointed chin. Her face was as big as a plate, covered with fine hair. Her eyes were like copper bells. While she was talking, you could see her 2 rows of uneven and slightly yellow teeth. It was unknown what race this woman was from, but there were 6 heavenly veins dragon chi wrapped around her body. She was also a 6 veins heavenly saint. Her chi and blood power was actually comparable to Yen Tong, and her tone was full of jealousy. Her disdainful tone was just to cover up the jealousy in her heart. Long Chun looked at Yen Tong, then at the woman, and suddenly his face was full of strangeness. Who was he? A few words could tell the clues. Obviously, the Black Rock 9 Nether Pythons were at the bottom of the Heavenly Demon Alliance and were not well received. In this generation, Yen Tong, a genius, emerged. Yen Tong was valued by the man called Ho Yang and became a maid. However, maid is likely to be an insulting term. She may not really be a maid. She is likely to be a follower. The Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan became prosperous because of Yen Tong, breaking away from the shackles of the bottom and entering the upper class. This extremely ugly woman must have looked down on the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan from the bottom of her heart. Now she has found an opportunity to humiliate Yen Tong by mocking that person. Hearing the woman's words, Yen Tong's face changed all of a sudden. She said grimly, Xingyu, are you going to declare war on me on purpose? Declare war if you want, what's wrong? You bitch, I have disliked you for a long time. You are a humble worm. What qualifications do you have to be favored by senior brother Ho Yang? The woman named Xingyu took a step forward, waved her hands, and her body swelled up like a gorilla. She held 2 axes as big as a table and pointed at Yen Tong and roared. Xingyue was furious, and the people around were shocked. They wanted to mediate, but they knew that the 2 tribes had been hostile to each other for a long time. Xingyue was provoking them so blatantly that it was difficult for them to let it go. They could only watch from the side. The Black Rock 9 Nether Python hated being called a worm the most. Yen Tong said coldly, You are a fat pig with black hair, smelly, stupid and arrogant. You are named Xingyue. How are you like the holy moon? Being provoked and scolded by Xingyue. Yen Tong was not easy to mess with. She retaliated against the other party's personal attack, and every word was ruthlessly exposing Xingyue's scars. No matter what race, as long as they are women, there is no one who does not love beauty, especially most races, who have to enter the realm of human emperors and will be influenced by the aesthetic concepts of the human race. Yen Tong looks average and is not a beauty at all, but compared with Xingyue, well, she suddenly looks very beautiful. Xingyue was so angry that she screamed when Yen Tong mocked her. However, at this time Long Chun spoke. You are wrong. Who said she doesn't look like the moon at all? However, everyone was stunned when Long Chun spoke, and then Long Chun continued, Are you all blind? Can't you see her big face? Ha ha ha. When Long Chun said this, countless people couldn't help laughing, especially the strong men of the Black Rock 9 Nether Python clan. Die! Xingyue was furious. Seeing that Long Chun dared to provoke her, she roared, and the battle axe in her hand cut through the sky and slashed towards Long Chun. Xingyu attacked fiercely and fiercely, just like a female diamond, rushing towards Long Chun. The giant axe broke through the air and tore the world apart. If you can take 3 of my axes without dying, I will admit that you are the descendant of 9 stars. Xingyu roared. Whether I, Long Chun, am the descendant of 9 stars, it seems that you don't need to admit it. I didn't expect that I, Long Chun, was bullied by a dog in a low position, and I was embarrassed by a bunch of little trash like you. Forget. Who hasn't had bad luck? Wait until I, Long Chun, condense the dragon energy of the sky vein, and then I will let you see what a real strong man is. Long Chun said lightly. He wants to run, attack together. Chun Feng immediately saw that something was wrong and was the first to attack. A beam of divine light shot out at Long Chun. At the same time, Yen Tong and other strong men's attacks also came almost at the same time. Obviously, they have been guarding against Long Chun's escape. I, Long Chun, want to leave. Who can stop me? Long Chun's hand seal changed, and suddenly the ground under his feet exploded, followed by the water splashing around the stars, blooming rapidly. Boom, boom, boom. All the attacks hit the water, and everyone's face changed at that moment. Their attacks landed on the water, and the water exploded, while Long Chun's figure fell rapidly. Boom! The explosion shook the sky, and Long Chun took advantage of the water to resist and fell into the deep pit under his feet. The deep pit was already filled with lake water. Kill him under the ground. Someone roared. Boom, boom, boom. Various attacks slashed fiercely on the ground. Dust flew, water splashed, and a deep pit of tens of thousands of miles was cut out on the ground. But Long Chun had disappeared. Without space fluctuations, he can't escape. Search quickly. Seeing Long Chun disappear, the group of people became anxious and searched quickly, but they couldn't find any trace of Long Chun. What they didn't know was that Long Chun used the power of thunder to send the power of stars underground into the distant lake. When the power of stars probed into the lake, Long Chun immediately felt the vast and boundless power of stars. As long as he was given enough time, he could control this lake. However, he didn't have that much time. He could only use the power of the stars to draw the lake water to form a big pit under his feet and construct an underground passage. When Xingyue attacked him, Long Chun drew the power of the lake water to form a splash, not to resist their attack, but to buy himself a buffer time to enter the passage smoothly. The lake water itself contains the power of the stars. Under the guidance of Long Chun's star power, it burst out with amazing power, and Long Chun successfully entered the underground passage. The moment he entered the passage, Long Chun was like a fish in water. In the water, he rushed to the depths of the lake like a flash of lightning. While this group of people were still frantically attacking the earth, Long Chun had already escaped far away. Puff! In the lake, Long Chun spurted a mouthful of blood. Although he had fought for the opportunity, the aftermath of the simultaneous attack of so many strong men at that time still shattered his bones and ruptured his internal organs. Can be said that this time he escaped in a very dangerous way. A bunch of little trash. Just wait for me. Long Chun was annoyed. If he was also a six-veined heavenly saint, how could he have the qualifications to be so arrogant? At the same time, Long Chun was also full of vigilance. He found that the heavenly saint realm might be a watershed of this era. Before, the first-grade divine emperors that Long Chun met in the outside world were already so powerful that they were suffocating. But now think about it, strong men like Chun Feng, Yen Tong, and Xingyu who are at the heavenly saint level are enough to rival the first-grade divine emperors in the outside world. As for terrifying beings like Fan Tianda and Li Chongqing, their heavenly vein dragon chi fluctuations are more condensed and powerful than those of Chun Feng, Yen Tong, Xingyue, and others. They are both heavenly vein dragon chi, but the energy they contain is very different. After such a long period of observation, he found that this heavenly vein contains not only the power of luck, destiny, law, 5 elements, and other powers, but also some things that cannot be explained. In this realm, some people's heavenly vein dragon chi is a straw, while some people's heavenly vein dragon chi is a steel wire. The most terrifying thing is that some people's heavenly vein dragon chi is condensed from tens of millions of steel wires, which is strong and tough. Even if they are both five-vein heavenly saints, the difference can be astonishing. In the past, Long Chen's challenge was as easy as cutting melons and vegetables. But now, let alone crossing levels, he can't even defeat six-vein heavenly saints. If it was the new generation of human emperor, Long Chen would not have the courage to challenge it at all. Obviously, the level standard of the old generation of strongmen is no longer suitable for their generation. Buzz! Long Chen rushed forward in the lake, and suddenly a fatal threat came. Long Chen's hair exploded and stood up. At that moment, he seemed to be stared at by a bunch of prehistoric beasts. The threat of death instantly filled Long Chen's heart. Long Chen was shocked. There was a terrifying existence hidden in the center of the lake. At the same time, Long Chen felt a strong summoning intention. Long Chen's heart was awed. There is something strange in the center of the lake. Long Chen's star power gradually merged with the lake. Long Chen found that the lake not only contained the power of the stars, but also contained an evil force. The two forces were entangled and restrained each other. When they entangled, they generated a strong suction force, madly absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. This star lake is like a huge spirit gathering array, gathering the endless energy between heaven and earth here. This is why so many strong people gave up treasure hunting and chose to practice around this star lake. However, the further away from the shore, the stronger the evil power becomes, making people tremble in the soul. No wonder everyone is guarding the lakeside instead of going to the center of the lake, because the shore is the best place for cultivation. At this time, Long Chen no longer wanted to practice. The strong summoning intention and the terrifying killing will made him curious about the central area of the lake. Long Chen didn't care about healing. The power of the stars unfolded and rushed forward. The lake was too big. Long Chen rushed for an hour and could no longer see the situation on the shore, but still did not reach the central area. At this time, fierce killing intentions and warnings came. Obviously, some terrifying creatures discovered him and warned him. However, this kind of crushing will not only fail to make Long Chen surrender, but made Long Chen more curious and had to find out. However, the further forward, the fierce killing intention had condensed into substance, and the void began to change color. The star-like lake appeared in a dark area. Facing the fierce killing intention, Long Chen did not hesitate at all and plunged into it. The moment he entered the black area, buzz! The water waves trembled, and Long Chen actually entered a different dimension. Then Long Chen saw a scene that shocked him. In a space with a radius of 10,000 miles, a woman with starlight all over her body and holding a star sword pierced a demon's head with one sword. The demon had wings on its back, horns on its head, and 6 arms like spider legs, which fiercely pierced into the woman's body. The black venom was corroding her body. When Long Chen entered the space, the woman who was looking at the demon was looking at Long Chen, with a smile on her lips. Seeing this scene, Long Chen immediately recognized that the woman was a descendant of the 9 stars. Without thinking, he held the thunder spear and stabbed at the demon. Boom! However, before Long Chen could get close, the demon's wings trembled, and the thunder spear in Long Chen's hand exploded. The violent destructive force attacked, and Long Chen spurted out a mouthful of blood. Long Chen was horrified. The 9 stars descendant had already restrained it, but Long Chen couldn't even break its basic defense. What level of existence is this monster? I never thought that after billions of years, the 9 stars have fallen to this point. It seems that since the death of the Star Lord, the 9 stars have run out of luck. The monster looked at Long Chen, and a hint of mockery appeared on the corner of his mouth. His voice was cold and deep, and every word was bloody. Every syllable was like a fatal note, full of fierceness and bloodthirstiness. Even with Long Chen's bravery, he couldn't help but feel his soul trembling when he heard his voice. It was an extremely terrifying voice. However, hearing the monster's mockery, Long Chen's anger rose immediately. If he couldn't even deal with a trapped monster, it would be too useless. However, just as Long Chun was hesitating about what method to use to kill him, the 9 Stars descendant sent a divine thought. Don't rush to do it. It is a 9th grade divine emperor. With your current strength, you can't break through the protective divine light formed by his divine emperor crown. 9th grade divine emperor? Long Chen's heart was pounding. This monster was actually a 9th grade divine emperor, and it was a 9th grade divine emperor from the Chaos era. No wonder it was so terrifying. Feng Xinyue once said that the powerful god emperors of that era could condense the god crown, which was the symbol of the powerful god emperor. However, after the Chaos War, the world changed and people could not release the god crown and could only store it in their bodies. However, the difference between releasing and storing is as big as the sky and the earth. However, Long Chun did not see the god crown of the monster radiate, because after countless years of fighting with the 9-star female heir, the power of the god crown had become extremely weak, from tangible to intangible, to reduce consumption. However, even this invisible power of the crown could shock Long Chun to vomit blood, which made Long Chun even more horrified. He is the 6-horned evil fly of the extraterritorial demon clan, a general-level existence among the extraterritorial demons. It is them who have slaughtered countless lives. I fought with him and was involved in the turbulence of time and space. I circulated in the cracks of time and space and finally drifted here. The strength is above mine. I have no ability to kill it, so I can only hold it tightly and prevent it from causing harm to the world. I used my natal star sea to transform into a lake and draw the power of the stars in the sky to hold it back. But every once in a while, someone came to absorb the power of the lake, which greatly damaged my strength. And this time, the power absorbed was more and faster, and I could no longer hold on. But you came. Although you haven't grown up yet and are still very weak, I believe that every 9-star descendant is a real strong man. You must have a way, but don't worry, calm down. The 9-star female warrior said. Her voice was very soft, like a gentle sister encouraging her younger brother, which seemed particularly kind. Long Chun was originally furious, but when he heard her voice, he immediately calmed down. He knew that what she said about someone absorbing the power of the lake every once in a while should be the opening of the Tianmai Shen realm. Some people discovered this place and found that it gathered endless power of the heavenly Tao. So they came to draw the power of the heavenly Tao here for cultivation. When her natal star sea wants to attract the power of stars, it will also attract the power of heaven. Therefore, the power of heaven in the star lake is amazing, which is why so many people come here. This time, because there are too many people and they are too strong, her power is consumed very quickly, which causes her power to weaken rapidly, and she has signs of not being able to control the other party. You don't think that this guy who is as weak as an ant can help you with anything, right? The 6-horned evil fly looked at Long Chun, and his voice was full of sarcasm. Although it couldn't hear the conversation between the two, it was very intelligent and could roughly guess what the two would communicate. Long Chun looked at the 6-horned evil fly. Only then did he notice that this guy had 2 big black bumps on his forehead, just like the abdominal eyes of a fly. No wonder they have such a name. The so-called 6-horned refers to their 6 arms like spider legs, and the front ends of the arms are like sharp horns. Long Chun looked up and down at the 6-horned evil fly, not letting go of any detail. Long Chen's sharp eyes actually made the 6-horned evil fly feel uncomfortable. However, at this time, it and the 9-star female warrior had restrained each other's vital points, and their strength was restrained by each other. Neither dared to act rashly. Long Chen's mind was working rapidly. He was looking for the weakness of this monster, thinking about how to kill it with one blow. However, the most important thing was how to kill this monster while saving the life of the 9-star female warrior. You don't have to worry about me. As long as we can kill it, everything is worth it. The 9-star female warrior sent a voice message to Long Chun. What's worth it? Sister, a fairy-like figure. How can you die with such an ugly monster? Believe me, I can figure out a way after all. Long Chun said. When Long Chun said this, the 9-star female warrior was stunned for a moment, and then a smile appeared on her face. Since I was born, I have fought all over the world, but no one has ever praised me. Thank you, even if I die, I can rest in peace. Long Chun was stunned. It is said that the 9-star descendant is a loner and a natural fighting maniac. From her tone, she started to fight all over the world when she was very young, so who commanded her? However, this question is definitely not convenient to ask at this time. If you want to know more about the secrets of the 9-star descendant, you can only wait until she is rescued. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this time, the barrier they were in trembled, and the entire star lake began to surge wildly. Oh no, they have absorbed too much power, and my barrier shows signs of imbalance. I can't hold on any longer. Little brother, it's too late. Find a way to kill it quickly. Don't worry about me. The 9-star female warrior anxiously sent a voice message to Long Chun. Long Chun also saw it, and he was also very anxious, but if he killed this monster, she would die with him, and Long Chun couldn't do it. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from the chaotic space, and Long Chun couldn't help but be overjoyed. At this moment, Chen Kuan Ding, Longu Sheiyue, Yaoyue Ding, and Fan Tianyin came out at the same time. Wow, wow, wow. This is a monster from the chaotic era. It's a great tonic. Let me kill it. Longu Sheiyue had just revived, staring at the 6-cornered evil fly like a hungry wolf, and shouted excitedly. It's alive and trapped. Why don't you use the heavenly soul blood curse to refine it into a puppet? Chen Kuan Ding said. Pa! Hearing Chen Kuan Ding's words, Long Chun slapped his thigh excitedly and jumped up. He was so stupid that he didn't think of this trick. Chen Kuan Ding specifically mentioned the living because it was easier to use the heavenly soul blood curse on the living, and the probability of success was higher. Hee hee. At this moment, Long Chun walked towards the 6-cornered evil fly step by step, with an evil smile on his lips. Just bear with it, it will be fine soon. The Chenkuan Cauldron, the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, the Demon Moon Cauldron, and the Heaven-Flipping Seal all awakened. Long Chun was full of confidence and walked towards the 6-horned evil fly with a grim smile on his face. Stupid guy. Do you know that in front of me? You are just an ant. How big a wave can you make? Facing Long Chen's grim smile, the 6-horned evil fly sneered. It didn't take Long Chun seriously at all, because Long Chen's cultivation was too low, and the power of the stars was even weaker. In the previous collision, it had already touched Long Chen's bottom. It didn't believe that Long Chun could do anything to it. However, it was also extremely cautious and focused all its attention on the female warrior. It was not afraid of Long Chun, but it was afraid of her. Even though it was in an absolute advantage at this time and could turn the tables immediately, the more cautious it was at this moment. In its opinion, Long Chun could only interfere with it at most, and as long as it stabilized, it would win. Stupid big fly, do you think I'm playing a trick with you? You're wrong. Use your strongest power to meet the judgment of your third master Long. Long Chun shouted. Stupid. The 6-horned evil fly sneered. The more Long Chun said this, the more he exposed his thoughts. It believed that Long Chun was playing a trick to give the woman a chance. Big-headed kid, your third master Long is here. Long Chun suddenly screamed, stepped on the void, and rushed towards the 6-horned evil fly like a flash of lightning. Die! Seeing Long Chun rushing directly at it without any hesitation, the 6-horned evil fly snorted coldly, and the wings behind it trembled slightly, and a transparent ripple emerged. This ripple was more terrifying than before. If it hit Long Chun, there was a possibility that Long Chun would be killed instantly. Ha! However, at the moment when Long Chun was about to be hit by the ripple, Long Chen's figure disappeared instantly. What? The 6-horned evil fly and the woman were startled at the same time, and neither of them saw how Long Chun disappeared. I'll hit you. When the ripples swept through the void, Long Chen's figure had already appeared behind the 6-cornered evil fly. On a brick, countless runes lit up and smashed hard on its head. Boom! With a shocking explosion, the violent force caused the entire lake surface to rise rapidly, and a water column as thick as 10,000 miles shot out, rushing straight into the sky. Oh my God! This attack is so satisfying, Long Chen shouted excitedly. After the heaven-flipping seal awakened, it was blessed with the power of runes. The power of this attack could split mountains and shatter peaks. Long Chen was even worried that it would smash this guy's head in one go. However, it was obvious that Long Chen's worry was unnecessary. The heaven-flipping seal smashed on the head of the six-cornered evil fly, and its whole body trembled violently, and the long sword inserted in its head shook for a while. "Draw the sword!" Long Chen shouted. The woman was shocked. If she drew out the long sword, she would no longer be able to suppress it. Just as she hesitated, buzz! A black evil long sword appeared. What a waste of ink! The dragon bone evil moon appeared automatically and stabbed at the long sword. When the tip of dragon bone evil moon hit the tip of the sword accurately, the long sword was immediately shaken out, while the tip of dragon bone evil moon pierced into the head of the six-cornered evil fly. The two moved forward and backward, and the exchange was completed in an instant. The woman was shocked. She didn't expect that Long Chen would have such a method. Ah! When dragon bone evil moon pierced its head, the six-cornered evil fly let out a thunderous roar. Its wings suddenly spread open, and the terrifying demonic energy rose rapidly. "Ah, your sister, in front of Master Long San. If you are a dragon, you have to coil up. If you are a tiger, you have to lie down." Long Chen opened his big hand, and a blood-colored rune emerged. The heaven-flipping seal trembled and broke away from the head of the six-cornered evil fly. A blood-colored pit was slapped out at its original location. Pa! Long Chen's big hand accurately hit that position, and the blood-colored rune instantly merged into its flesh and blood. At that moment, the body of the six-horned evil fly suddenly stiffened. "Damn reptile! You still want to enslave me? Go to hell!" The six-horned evil fly fell into a frenzy in an instant, and endless runes around it lit up. Seeing this scene, the woman gritted her teeth and rushed up. "No, leave it to me." Long Chen hurriedly sent a voice message to her, and then sneered at the six-horned evil fly. "You can't escape from the things that Long San has set his eyes on. Just be my puppet." Puff! Suddenly, the dragon bone evil moon actually retreated from the head of the six-horned evil fly. Buzz! The dragon bone evil moon, the overturning seal, and the demon moon cauldron, they formed a peen shape, surrounding Long Chen and the six-horned evil fly. Boom! Without the restraint of the dragon bone evil moon, the six-horned evil fly seemed to be unsealed in an instant, and the violent power rose rapidly. The lake water seemed to be boiling, surging wildly in all directions. The violent waves rushed from the center of the lake to the edge of the lake in the blink of an eye. Countless people screamed and wanted to dodge, but it was too late. They were swallowed by the lake in an instant. Puff, puff, puff. At the moment they were swallowed by the lake, their bodies were instantly crushed, and the blood dyed the lake red. Originally, there were countless strong men staying around the Star Lake. Now that the tide has passed, only the strong men above the 5 veins heavenly saint level are qualified to save their lives. The rest of the people were all killed. What's going on? A survivor screamed in horror. Originally, there were more than 20 million strong men in their force, but after the tide, less than 100 people survived. The Star Lake turned into a blood lake in an instant. However, in the blood-colored lake, the blood quickly coagulated and gathered into streams, rushing to the center of the lake. The lake water, which was as red as blood just now, instantly became clear and restored its original appearance, as if everything was an illusion. In the center of the lake, endless blood was drawn and poured into the body of the six-horned evil fly. The endless runes on its body lit up, and its aura soared wildly, as if it was a chaos demon that was about to be resurrected with full blood. However, watching the six-horned evil fly getting stronger and stronger, Long Chen was not in a hurry at all. The stronger the demon was, the happier Long Chen was. Boom, boom! Long Chun pressed his big hand on the head of the six-horned evil fly, and the soul power was injected into his soul frantically. Although the six-horned evil fly was a ninth-grade god emperor, its soul had been consumed for hundreds of millions of years and had long been dilapidated. It can be said that the soul is its biggest weakness, which is why Long Chun has the confidence to take it as a puppet. Ka ka ka. The six-horned evil fly trembled all over. Its wings trembled slightly, and its 6 arms like horns were also shaking slowly, as if it could break through Long Chun's seal at any time. The endless blood around it was still pouring into its body. When the last wisp of blood was absorbed into its body, the endless runes around it lit up like the sun. Now is the time. Seeing that the time was right, Long Chun shouted, and the dragon bone evil moon, the demon moon cauldron, and the heaven-flipping seal glowed at the same time. Endless runes flowed, forming thousands of chains that tightly wrapped the six-horned evil fly. It's just a little bit short, Long Chun shouted. Buzz! Suddenly, the Chenkuan cauldron appeared above Long Chun's head, and the divine light fell back. The six-horned evil fly that was still struggling frantically suddenly stopped moving. The divine light of the Chenkuan Ding did not shine directly on the six-horned evil fly, but on the Tianfan Yin, Longu Sheiyue, and Yaoyue Ding. You three are really shady. Even though the Chenkuan Ding had lived for endless years, it couldn't help but curse the 3 guys for being shameless. The 3 of them locked the six-horned evil fly, but they were just waiting for it to make a move. Don't make a fuss. Only your sacred power can restrain its evil power. Otherwise, we are just wasting our efforts, Longu Sheiyue argued. Chenkuan Ding was too lazy to talk nonsense with it. Its sacred power was indeed the strongest force to restrain it. However, if Longu Sheiyue, Yaoyue Ding, and Tianfan Yin used all their strength, they could also imprison it instantly, but these 3 guys were waiting for it. Yaoyue, Ding, and Tianfan Yin were very simple. There was no need to think that it must have been Longu Sheiyue's idea. Buzz! As soon as Chenkuan Ding made a move, the six-horned evil fly was instantly unable to move. Long Chen's soul power burst out with all his strength, and the six-horned evil fly's rotten soul was instantly killed. At the same time, the soul mark was deeply imprinted. This heavenly soul blood curse can only control dead puppets, so it is necessary to kill its soul. However, when the soul is killed, it is easiest to directly imprint the soul mark. After Long Chen's soul mark was imprinted, the body of the six-horned evil fly did not move for a long time. At that moment, Long Chun was extremely nervous, waiting for the judgment of fate. Buzz! After half an incense stick of time, the body of the six-horned evil fly trembled slightly, and then a rune lit up from its forehead. Success! Long Chun couldn't help but be overjoyed when he saw this scene. The moment the rune lit up, he and the puppet had a soul connection, and the six-cornered evil fly would be completely under his command. It was actually controlled. The 9-star female warrior saw this scene with disbelief in her eyes. Long Chun, who hadn't even condensed the heavenly vein dragon chi, actually sealed the 9th-grade divine emperor-level chaos demon. Even she was stunned by this operation. Bang bang! Long Chun patted the six-cornered evil fly with his big hands. The solid skull, the solid touch, and the violent power made Long Chun dance with excitement. The six-cornered evil fly absorbed a huge amount of essence and blood, and its corrupt body was strengthened. The pierced wound has healed. With it, Long Chun was immediately full of confidence. Sister, how is your injury? Long Chun suddenly saw the pale-faced female warrior, whose eyes were filled with shock. He felt embarrassed and hurriedly said with concern, I'm fine. You're so powerful. This is the first time I've seen a 9-star descendant with so many tricks. The woman looked at Long Chun, and the shock in her eyes still did not fade. By the way, my name is Ching Yi. What's your name? The woman said. My name is Long Chun. You're older than me, so I'll just call you Sister Ching. You can just call me Long Chun. As both of them were 9-star descendants, Long Chun could feel a strong sense of intimacy with her. Qingyi nodded and said, "You're a very special 9-star descendant, different from all of us. It's great to meet you. By the way, Sister Qing, how is your injury? Can it be recovered?" Long Chun asked. "Qing," he said, "I've been poisoned by the 6-horned evil fly for too long. Although I can't die, it's extremely difficult to recover. If I hadn't been poisoned, I could have directly taken back the power of the Star Lake. Although I couldn't be cured, I could at least recover 30% of my strength. But I was poisoned, and the lake water has been contaminated by evil blood, so I can't recycle it. Now it depends on whether you can use it to help your practice." "You mean?" Long Chun was shocked. "This lake water is made of my original power. If you can absorb it, it will be of great benefit to you. If you can't absorb it, it will be wasted." Qingyi said, "Perhaps I can find a way to purify the lake water. After purification, you can absorb it. Can you recover?" Long Chun said. Qingyi shook her head and said, "There is no time. Look." Long Chun noticed that at some point, the Star Lake began to rise, and the starlight was slowly leaving the lake and floating towards the sky. "Our power comes from the stars in the sky. Now I can't control them anymore. They will return to where they came from. So, if you have a way to absorb it quickly, otherwise they will soon dissipate." Qingyi said. "In that case, I would like to thank Sister Qing for your help." Long Chun said. The situation was urgent, and Long Chun didn't make any more pretentious remarks. "Just absorb it with peace of mind. I will help you protect the law." Qingyi nodded. "No need. There are countless treasures in this Tianmai Shenjing. You can easily find a place suitable for your cultivation and recovery. The changes in the world are coming. You need to recover quickly and become stronger." At this time, Chen Kuan-Ding spoke. Qingyi saw Chen Kuan-Ding at this time, and her pupils shrank suddenly, because before, her attention was focused on the 6-horned evil fly. Only now did she see the appearance of Chen Kuan-Ding clearly. You are." Qingyi's voice trembled. She couldn't believe her eyes. Obviously, she recognized Chen Kuan-Ding's identity. "Go, Long Chun has enough self-protection ability," Chen Kuan-Ding said. Qingyi suppressed the shock in her heart, saluted Chen Kuan-Ding respectfully, and then nodded to Long Chun, indicating that he should be careful. Then the figure flashed, the starlight trembled, and the figure disappeared instantly. Qingyi disappeared, and Chen Kuan-Ding, Dragonbone Evil Moon, Fantian Seal, Yaoyue Ding, and the 6-horned evil fly were all collected by Long Chun. Taking a deep breath, Long Chun formed seals with his hands and summoned the vision of the Sea of Stars. The Sea of Stars enveloped the Lake of Stars, and the power between the two instantly matched and merged into one. Boom, boom. At that moment, Long Chun instantly became the master of the Lake of Stars. At that moment, Long Chun instantly mastered a power that was thousands of times greater than his own. This power was too terrifying. If he was not careful, it would burst his vision. Damn Long Chun, it turned out to be you. At this moment, the figures of Chun Feng, Yen Tong, Xing Yu and others appeared. When they saw Long Chun, their eyes suddenly turned red. Turned out that they were all practicing on the shore. The sudden waves directly killed their fellow tribesmen. They were shocked, angry, and terrified, but curiosity drove them to see what happened. So they bit the bullet and explored the center of the lake. They were terrified all the way, but when they saw Long Chun, they roared and killed him. Although they didn't know what happened specifically, they always believed that Long Chun must have used some dirty tricks to kill so many of them. A bunch of ants. Dare to be arrogant in front of you, Third Master Long? Today I'll let you see what I can do. Long Chun smiled sinisterly and was about to send out the 6-horned evil fly. Don't make a fuss. Why use a butcher knife to kill a chicken? Just absorb your star power. Linger, it's time to show your true strength. Chen Kuan-Ding said. Buzz. The demon moon ding appeared. Runes circulated around it, radiating light, and the whole body became transparent. It suddenly enlarged rapidly and rushed straight towards Chen Feng and others. Boom! Chun Feng and the others' weapons slashed at the Yao Yuding. With a loud bang, they were blown away with their weapons. Long Chun was shocked. When did the Yao Yuding become so powerful? The Yao Yuding was in an illusory state at this time, but it still had such a terrifying power. Buzz! The Yao Yuding shook them away, and the movement did not stop. The body of the Ding was still rapidly enlarged, and in an instant, it enveloped the entire Star Lake. Brother Long Chun, you can absorb it with peace of mind. I will help you block all enemies. Yao Linger said confidently. Boom, boom, boom. At this time, Qin Feng, Yen Tong, Xingyu and others who were shaken away were shocked and angry, and attacked Yao Linger's body frantically. However, Yao Linger's transparent body formed a barrier. Every time they attacked, they could only burst out ripples, and they could not shake her at all. Not only the strong men of the Tian Yao clan, but also other strong men also attacked the Yao Yuding frantically, but the Yao Yuding was still as stable as a rock. Long Chun was surprised and delighted. Yao Linger was so powerful, not to mention the heaven-flipping seal, Dragon Bone Evil Moon, and Chenkuan Ding. However, it was still important to collect the power of the stars. Long Chun took a deep breath and used the vision to control the Lake of Stars. The lake contained Qing Yi's star power, which could not be wasted. Wang hum hum. When Long Chun attracted the power of the stars into his body, the world suddenly trembled. Long Chun felt the vast power of destiny rushing towards him. Seeing this scene, Long Chun was overjoyed and wanted to attract the power of destiny into his body and use it to condense the dragon energy of the sky vein. Don't absorb those destiny energies. They will only become a burden to you. Now you can absorb the power of the stars with peace of mind. Chenkuan Ding said. Why? Long Chun was puzzled. At this time, absorbing the power of the stars, the power of destiny poured in, and condensing the dragon energy of the sky veins could be said to be twice the result with half the effort, but Chenkuan Ding actually made him give up condensing the dragon energy of the sky veins. Why so many whys? Just absorb them calmly, and you will understand slowly, Chenkuan Ding said unhappily. Long Chun had no choice but to follow Chenkuan Ding's instructions and absorb the star power in the Star Lake calmly, and directly block the power of destiny coming from the outside world. The lake water and Long Chen's star sea vision completely overlapped, and they had already completed the fusion. What made Long Chen feel strange was that the star lake contained endless star power, which was not something he could control at all. Even if he wanted to control it, it would be extremely difficult. But after the star lake merged with the vision, Long Chen found that the star lake seemed so small in front of the star sea vision, and the star sea vision swallowed it without any effort. The star power in the Star Lake was also unusually gentle, and everything obeyed Long Chun. Their power slowly merged into the stars. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, the star sea in Long Chen's Dantian underwent a huge change. Every star was actually wrapped in a layer of water vapor, like a colorful divine ring wrapping it. Long Chun was stunned. He had not expected that such a change would occur after the fusion. The stars were surrounded by water vapor. At that moment, Long Chun suddenly found that the stars seemed to be endowed with a strange power. Long Chun did nothing, just quietly waiting for their automatic fusion. Anyway, he had the Demon Moon Cauldron to protect him, so there was no rush. Time passed bit by bit. As Long Chun absorbed, the area of the Star Lake kept shrinking, and the protection range of the Demon Moon Cauldron was also shrinking. However, the attacks from outside never stopped. When they saw the Demon Moon Cauldron shrinking, they thought that the power of the Demon Moon Cauldron was insufficient and there were signs of decline, so they attacked more recklessly. Tens of thousands of strong men attacked the Demon Moon Cauldron frantically, but there was peace inside the Demon Moon Cauldron. Long Chun closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in the sea of stars, quietly watching the changes of the stars in his Dantian. As more and more star power entered Long Chen's Dantian through the vision, the sea of stars in Long Chen's Dantian was covered with mist. Every star, moistened by the moisture, seemed to be nurturing some strange power. 1 hour. 2 hours. When the third hour passed, the endless lake water had completely disappeared. the Yaoyue Ding finally shrank to a radius of 100 miles, guarding Longchen firmly inside. No matter how the outside world attacked, she always protected Longchen from being disturbed. Buzz! At this moment, suddenly the sea of stars in Longchen's dantian trembled violently, and those moist stars exhaled a breath at the same time. 1,080,000,000 stars exhaled 1,080,000,000 breaths. When Longchen saw that breath, his eyes almost popped out. This is... Every star actually exhaled a dragon breath. That's right, it was the heavenly vein dragon Qi, but at this time they had not absorbed the power of destiny, so they could not be called heavenly vein dragon Qi. 1,080,000,000 heavenly veins dragon Qi? Longchen was stunned. Only then did he understand why Chen Ding had not allowed him to pay attention to the power of destiny in the outside world and absorb the power of the stars with peace of mind. It turned out that it had known that this would happen. However, although there were many heavenly veins dragon Qi, they were too weak. They could be blown away with just one breath. Buzz! Suddenly, these heavenly veins dragon Qi disappeared from Longchen's dantian and appeared in the strange vision of the outside world. When these heavenly veins dragon Qi appeared in the strange vision, the strong men who were frantically attacking Yaoyue Ding suddenly stopped moving. They felt something was wrong because at that moment, they suddenly lost the sense of the power of destiny. At the same time, the heavenly veins dragon Qi around them also disappeared. Boom! However, before they could understand what was going on, the void collapsed, and the violent suction force made their scalps numb. Without thinking, they rushed out quickly. Boom! Just as they escaped, a vortex with a radius of billions of miles formed between heaven and earth. At that moment, all the energy between heaven and earth rushed into Longchen's sea of stars. Buzz! Those dragon Qi of the sky veins surged in the wind, forming giant dragons in an instant. They devoured the energy between heaven and earth crazily. Scales appeared on their smooth bodies, and their breath became stronger and more violent. What is that? When everyone saw the billions of dragon shadows stirring in Longchen's star sea, they were stunned. Even with their knowledge, they had never seen such a terrifying phenomenon. The power of the sky veins between heaven and earth has been drained by him. I can no longer summon the dragon Qi of the sky veins. What is he doing? For a moment, countless people screamed in horror. Without the blessing of the dragon Qi of the sky veins, they were extremely terrified. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The star sea above Longchen's head had shrunk, but because of the appearance of those giant dragons, it began to grow wildly, almost covering the entire sky. The terrifying sense of oppression made people despair. Kill him! Chun Feng saw that it was not good, and exchanged glances with Yen Tong and Xingyu. At this time, Yaoyue Ding had disappeared at some point, and stepped into the void and rushed towards Longchen. Boom! Before they could get close to Longchen, there was a loud bang, and billions of dragon shadows disappeared in the sky. Then a violent wind wave hit them, and the three of them were directly shocked by the violent wind wave, bleeding wildly and flew backwards. People were shocked. When the wind wave passed, when people looked at Longchen again, everyone had a dazed look on their faces, and they couldn't believe their eyes. One lineage, Tianxing, endless dragon figures finally merged into one, forming a heavenly vein dragon Qi that roamed back and forth behind Longchen. However, unlike other people's heavenly vein dragon Qi, it was very weak, only 3 feet long, and looked like it had not yet reached adulthood. Compared with other dragons that were hundreds of miles long, thousands of miles long, or even tens of thousands of miles long, Longchen's heavenly vein dragon Qi seemed so tiny. But this heavenly vein dragon Qi was completely different from the heavenly vein dragon Qi that everyone had seen. It was surrounded by starlight and flashed with dreamy colors. When it swam behind Longchen, the world was silent and all sounds disappeared. Ha ha ha! Longchen clenched his fists and laughed at the sky. I also have heavenly vein dragon Qi. 1 billion stars gave birth to 1 billion dragon Qi. and the dragon chi gathered and merged into one to form this heavenly vein dragon chi. Long Chen's breath had undergone earth-shaking changes at this moment. With the appearance of the heavenly vein dragon chi, the feeling of being in control of the world, and having everything born and destroyed with one thought, could not be described in words. Only then did Long Chen understand that he had condensed the sky vein dragon chi that was exclusive to the 9 stars. Perhaps it could be called star dragon chi. Its appearance brought a qualitative leap to Long Chen's star power, which was completely different from the past. You fought such a big battle, but you only got such a small sky vein dragon chi. You can't change your fate of being killed by playing tricks. Buzz. Some people didn't believe in evil. A tall man, like an iron tower, holding a long iron spear, with 6 sky vein dragon chis wrapped around his body, took a step forward and arrived in front of Long Chen. The spear carried supreme power and stabbed straight at Long Chen's eyebrows. It was a powerful 6-vein heavenly saint, and no one knew what race he came from. He had no grudges against Long Chen, but the Star Lake was violent and killed all his people. He blamed Long Chen for this hatred. The 6-vein heavenly saint made the most fierce killing move. He gambled on the strongest power of his life. The spear was like lightning and instantly stabbed in front of Long Chen. Buzz! However, when this spear with the power of wind and thunder pierced 3 feet in front of Long Chen, it could no longer pierce and just floated in the air. What? People were shocked because they saw that Long Chen had not made a move from beginning to end, and he did not even move, not even blinking. Long Chen looked at the spear coldly. At this time, the spear was only 3 feet away from him, shaking constantly. It was obviously full of power, but it could not move forward even a little bit. The owner of the spear also changed his face at this time. He looked at the tip of the spear with horror, and saw a layer of crystal clear film in the space in front of the tip of the spear. It was as thin as a cicada's wing and translucent. Countless stars could be seen flickering in it. If he was not close enough, he would not be able to see it at all. Long Chen looked at the scene in front of him, and his heart was filled with shock. One heavenly vein dragon chi can connect heaven and earth, and move the power of the stars with thoughts, and come from the heart. This feeling is really good. Boom! Suddenly, the heavenly vein dragon chi behind Long Chen trembled slightly, and suddenly the space in front of Long Chen exploded. A violent force directly shattered the man's spear. Puff! The strong man was instantly shaken into a sieve by the fragments of his own spear. His flesh and blood were blurred and flew backwards. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. For a moment, everyone was shocked. No one saw Long Chen take action. A terrifying 6-veins heavenly saint was defeated just like that. How strong must Long Chen be at this time? Chun Feng, Yen Tong, Xing Yu and the others saw that things were not going well, so they ran away. They were also experienced masters, so they left immediately when something was wrong. Want to leave? A hint of sarcasm appeared on Long Chen's lips. Where was the arrogance you showed when you tried to stop me before? Long Chen slowly stretched out one hand, and when he stretched out his hand, the dragon energy of the sky vein slowly attached to his arm, and his index finger stretched out and pointed at the 3 people. When Long Chen pointed his finger at the 3 of them, the 3 of them suddenly felt their souls tremble. Their bodies were cold, and a strong threat of death instantly enveloped them. Ha! They saw that the situation was not good, and they instantly separated and flew away in 3 different directions. The 3 of them were also smart, knowing that if Long Chen attacked, he could only attack one of them, and after attacking one of them, he would have no chance to attack the others, so it would depend on who was unlucky. Buzz! Suddenly, Long Chen's fingers trembled slightly, and the dragon energy of the sky vein wrapped around his arm suddenly lit up, and a star arrow shot out along Long Chen's finger. No! Xingyue, who was running madly in the distance, didn't expect that she was so unlucky that she was targeted by Long Chen. She roared and slashed at the back with the 2 axes in her hands. Bang! Her axe accurately chopped on Long Chen's star arrow, but the next moment, she and her 2 axes exploded, and the area where she was located formed a vacuum zone with a radius of hundreds of miles. Buzz! A bubble appeared there, and countless stars could be seen flowing in the bubble. The bubble expanded rapidly and exploded. The powerful pulling force formed a giant vortex, which was like a devil's mouth, greedily devouring everything between heaven and earth. When seeing this scene, Chunfeng and Yentong, who were still running desperately, were scared to death. Xingyue's strength was the same as theirs, but in front of Long Chen's attack, there was no room for resistance. Her full-strength attack chopped on the star arrow, but failed to create a ripple. This was what made them feel most desperate. Long Chen's power has exceeded their understanding and cognition. This is a terrifying power they have never seen before. Is this the heavenly vein dragon chi exclusive to the 9 stars? Isn't this too strong? After the attack, Long Chen himself was stunned. After Long Chen possessed the heavenly vein dragon chi, he knew that the power of the stars had undergone earth-shaking changes. He knew that he could kill the opponent with one blow, but he didn't expect that the power of this blow was enough to kill the opponent dozens of times. Don't waste the power of the stars. It is now the origin of your heavenly vein. Before it grows up, it is very difficult to recover. Chen Ding reminded. Long Chen also found that after the attack, the breath of the heavenly vein dragon chi was obviously a little weak. Originally, Long Chen wanted to kill the other 2 guys at the same time through the air, but now he had to let go. However, looking at Chen Feng and Yen Tong running wildly, Long Chen was a little angry again. He suddenly stood up, and the stars on his hands flowed. He stretched out a finger each and pointed at the 2. No! The 2 screamed wildly in fear, and Chen Feng was so scared that he peed and shit all over. He ran all the way, and a long floating object was pulled out behind him. Damn it! If I can't beat you to death, I'll scare you to death. After seeing this scene, Long Chen withdrew his hand with satisfaction. When he looked around, everyone had already run away. In the huge dried-up lake, only Long Chen was left. Ha 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 ha! I finally got to be proud of myself. Long Chen saw that just this one strike scared all the enemies to death, and he was about to be overwhelmed by his domineering demeanor. He never thought that, with the blessing of a heavenly vein dragon chi, his star power would reach the point where he could do whatever he wanted. The heavenly vein dragon chi seemed to be a link between the sea of stars in his dantian and the sea of stars above the 9 heavens, but it existed alone above the world. With it, Long Chen could use the power of heaven and earth and the power of the stars in his dantian through it, and he could also use its power alone. Long Chen had just tested its power and was warned by Chen Ding that it was obvious that it was best not to use its power lightly. You are lucky this time, because the descendant of the 9 stars helped you pave the way. In fact, this way of awakening the dragon is a unique inheritance of your 9 stars lineage. Chen Ding said. Then Chen Ding told Long Chen that in the Chaos era, the best way for the 9 stars to open the heavenly vein dragon chi was for the strongest to use their own original power to help the next generation to condense the heavenly vein dragon chi. Because the 9 stars were too powerful, the process of condensing the heavenly vein dragon chi by absorbing the power of heaven and earth was too long. So this method was their most ideal method. Although, even if no one helped, he could condense the heavenly vein dragon chi. But the process was too boring. The most important thing was that Long Chen's 9-star Hegemon body art cultivation method was different from others, and he needed to consume more energy. The 9 stars strong men often helped ordinary heavenly saints, but Long Chen was very special. Qing Yi was a godly emperor, and this sea of stars had merged her endless original power. If it was an ordinary 9-star descendant, it would be enough for tens of millions of people to advance at the same time, but Long Chen had just barely condensed the prototype of the heavenly vein, and this heavenly vein was far from perfect. Long Chen's heavenly vein dragon chi not only drained the power of the lake, but also drained all the power of destiny in this world. It can be said that even Chen Ding was shocked by Long Chen's consumption, but it didn't say it out loud. Such a terrifying consumption, but it only condensed such a small baby dragon, even it was shocked. No wonder you didn't let me condense the heavenly vein dragon chi. It turns out that you already knew Qingyi was here, Long Chen suddenly realized. Chen Ding was speechless for a while. It had been in seclusion before, how could it know Qingyi was here? The reason why it didn't let Long Chen condense the heavenly vein dragon chi was because the power of destiny around was too thin, and condensing it was a waste of effort and time. It just wanted Long Chen to find a suitable place. However, who knew that Long Chen would come here by accident, but everything has already happened, and there is no point in saying anything else. Anyway, the result is good, so everything is good. By the way, Senior, what level of strength do you think this guy I subdued belongs to? Long Chen said to Chen Ding. The guy Long Chen was talking about was the six-cornered evil fly that was sealed in the soul space. It can be said that this was his biggest gain, in addition to condensing the heavenly vein dragon chi. If we follow the standards of the Chaos era, he should be around the second-grade Divine Emperor at this time. Chen Ding said after taking a few glances. Second-grade Divine Emperor? So weak. Long Chen couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. This guy had absorbed the essence and blood of countless strong men before. Weak? You have to understand, I'm talking about the standards of the Chaos era. Just like before you enter the heavenly vein profound realm, you might imagine how big the gap is between the heavenly vein dragon chi here and the heavenly vein dragon chi outside. Chen Ding said unhappily. After Chen Ding said this, Long Chen immediately understood, but soon he was confused again. He had never seen a powerful divine emperor in the Chaos era. So how could he know how strong it was? Let me tell you this. If you don't use the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, even if it stands still, you can't destroy it with your current strength. Its current lethality is more than 100 times yours. It can be said that you have picked up a treasure this time. Chen Ding said. More than 100 times? When Long Chen heard this number, his heart was pounding. Wouldn't he be able to walk sideways in the Tianmai-Xian realm? However, this kind of puppet is just a trick after all. If you meet someone who is also proficient in puppetry, it is easy for them to find its weakness and destroy it. Don't rely too much on it. Chen Ding reminded. Long Chen nodded. He always had a vigilant attitude towards these external forces. Your Star Dragon vein is extremely powerful, but at the same time it also has a fatal flaw, that is, it consumes too much power. Now, the original power has been condensed. The next step is to cultivate this heavenly dragon energy to the extreme, so that the second heavenly dragon energy can be condensed. Chen Ding said, now those treasures are basically hidden, but peerless treasures will not be hidden. Since it is a peerless treasure, it will naturally be blessed by the luck of heaven and earth, and its location must be a feng shui treasure land. Next, your goal is very simple and very clear, that is, wherever there are treasures, drill there. If you can take the treasure, take the treasure. If you can't take the treasure, take the luck of heaven and earth and the power of destiny. In short, no matter what you do, you will not lose. Hearing this, Long Chen immediately understood that Chen Ding had calculated every step for him, and he didn't need to think about it at all. For a while, he was more grateful to Chen Ding in his heart. I don't like to hear this. What do you mean by taking it if you can? Is there any treasure in this world that we can't take? Longu Sheue said arrogantly. Obviously, after the breakthrough, the Dragon Bone Evil Moon became more domineering, but it seemed to have learned to restrain itself at this time. Long Chen could not seem to feel too many changes on it, unlike the huge changes of the Demon Moon Cauldron and the Heaven Flipping Seal. Hee. I like to hear this. I want the treasure, the luck, and the power of destiny. Yours is mine, and mine is still mine. In short, everything is mine. Long Chen laughed, revealing his greedy nature. If he didn't make a fortune now, when would he? Right in front, the luck is fluctuating violently. There must be treasures. Let's go. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon did not return to the chaos space, but just hung behind Long Chen and commanded Long Chen. Oh my God! You can sense the fluctuation of luck? Long Chen was surprised. When did the Dragon Bone Evil Moon have this ability? It sensed the bloody air. Chen Cauldron reminded. Who cares? Go back and take care of your old age. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon was exposed and immediately became furious. It often scolded Chen Cauldron for not doing anything and looked like it was waiting for others to take care of it. Chen Ding was not angry either, and just returned to the chaotic space. The runes around it were slowly flowing, and no one knew what it was going to do. Don't use those sneaky means. Let's just kill them. Violently push them. Those who follow me will prosper, and those who go against me will perish. Longu Sheue shouted. Okay. Seeing Longu Sheue's high spirits, Long Chen's blood boiled. There are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Tianmai Shenjing. Today, let's see who is the real dragon. Ha! Long Chen's figure flashed, and he was already flying away like a flash of lightning. Kill! The mountains were shrouded in endless figures, and the roars resounded through the world. A team of tens of millions of human warriors was seen charging at the endless demon army. When Long Chen arrived, he saw this shocking scene. The tens of millions of warriors, judging from their attire, were composed of 7 or 8 forces. The leader was actually a beautiful woman with a ponytail and a spear in her hand. This woman had a beautiful face and was well-dressed. She gave people a heroic feeling, and people would like her and trust her at first sight. She was surrounded by 8 heavenly dragon chi, and strange phenomena flowed behind her, with murderous aura. Countless demon warriors were killed by her one after another, rushing left and right, as if entering an empty land. But what shocked Long Chen was that tens of millions of human armies seemed so powerless in front of the endless demon army. The demon army surrounded the endless mountains around them, with 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside. From a distance, it was a sea of demon warriors. The woman rushed forward frantically, but there were too many powerful demons, and they kept moving. Their team was gradually scattered by the moving demon army and could not gather together. This kind of large-scale battle is the most terrible if the power cannot be concentrated together. Seeing that the momentum was not good, the woman immediately ordered everyone to retreat. If they rushed forward, their team would be divided into several pieces, and then the head and the tail would not be able to respond, and they would be defeated one by one. Damn! The woman held a spear and retreated while fighting, trying to keep the integrity of the team. Senior Sister Suyu, this won't work? We still have too few people and we don't have support. We can't stop them if we fight alone. A man protected the woman on both sides and couldn't help shouting. That's right, it's not that we are not strong enough, but that our human race is not united enough. No one is willing to fight with us. Someone shouted. It's not that we are not united, but that they are too stupid. We have told them that the demon race has a peerless strongman who relies on the unique terrain and racial advantages here to gather the 9th heavenly vein dragon energy by taking advantage of the time, place, and people. Once it succeeds, it will inevitably become the first 9-veined heavenly saint in the heavenly vein realm. At that time, our human race will definitely be the first to suffer. But they don't believe it at all. They think we want to use their power to seize some treasure. It's really infuriating. Someone cursed. The woman named Suyu, with a gloomy face, led everyone to retreat. Because she was very powerful, she quickly led everyone to retreat to the edge of the battlefield. Human stupid people want to destroy my demon race? Dream on. When Lord Tiantong advances to the 9-veined heavenly saint, it will be the time for your human race to be exterminated. At this time, the ridicule of the strong came from the depths of the demon race. Obviously, they did not take the attack of Suyu and others seriously. Asshole! Suyu was so angry that her face turned blue. Being ridiculed by a group of demon cubs was a great humiliation for her. You guys step back. Let me meet that guy called Tiantong alone. Suyu took a deep breath and shouted loudly. No! Suyu said this, and everyone was horrified and tried their best to block her. They knew that Suyu was the strongest, and if she was not dragged down by everyone, she would have a high probability of breaking through the blockade and entering the core area. But once she enters the core area, she will never be able to come back alone. With so many powerful demons, she will be exhausted to death. Obviously, Suyu is very popular among the people, and no one wants her to take this risk. Other human races don't care, so we might as well not care. Anyway, even if we are dealt with, we are not the only ones targeted. One person gritted his teeth and said, obviously, he was very unhappy because he had not received support. In fact, not only he was unhappy, but everyone was unhappy. They fought so hard, not for treasures, not for fame, and not for selfish desires, but what were they fighting for? People are born between heaven and earth, and they only want to have a clear conscience. What does other people's thoughts and opinions have to do with us? We only do what we think we should do, and we will never regret it even if we die. Suyu said loudly. When Suyu said this, those people stopped talking immediately. It must be said that Suyu had a righteous face, brilliant, and had the demeanor of a great general, which made people admire him from the bottom of their hearts. Brothers and sisters, follow me and charge once more. If it still doesn't work, I hope you can help me. Suyu swept her eyes over everyone and said firmly. Obviously, she wanted to try again. If she still failed, she would go in alone, even if she had no way back. It's useless to charge 100 times. However, at this moment, a lazy voice came, and Suyu couldn't help but get angry. Isn't this a deliberate blow to morale? However, when she saw the owner of the voice, she couldn't help but be surprised. At some point, a man in a black robe and carrying a fierce and ferocious black long knife had come to their side. The most important thing is that no one of them noticed this uninvited guest. If this person was an enemy, wouldn't it be bad? Fortunately, this man in a black robe was handsome and had bright eyes. He looked a little lazy, but he gave people a sense of trustworthiness. Who are you? Long Chen's arrival immediately alerted everyone. Countless strong men held their weapons tightly in their hands, and their sharp breath locked onto Long Chen. It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that you charge straight ahead. Even if you charge 100 times, the result will be the same. Although you are a little stupid, you still have the passion in your bones. So I am giving you instructions. Stupid? Instructions? Long Chen's words immediately made everyone furious. They saw that Long Chen, who didn't even have a single heavenly vein dragon chi, dared to teach them so shamelessly, and they were immediately furious. Just as someone was about to retort, Suyu suddenly stretched out her hand to stop them. She looked at Long Chen and said, "Friend, do you have a way to rush in?" "Of course, it's a piece of cake for me." Long Chen shrugged. The others were so angry at Long Chen's arrogant tone that their noses were crooked. They had tried their best to charge several times, but they couldn't break the formation. Long Chen actually said that it could be done without any effort. This was clearly calling them trash. "Are you willing to help us?" Suyu said. "Of course, but I have a condition," Long Chen said. Hearing the conditions, Suyu showed a trace of caution on his face, and when the others looked at Long Chen, they became more cautious. Suyu said, "Tell me your conditions." "My conditions are very simple. I will lead you to the core of the demon clan's encirclement, and you will protect me for the time of 1 stick of incense." Long Chen said, "Protect? What are you going to do?" These people immediately became alert. "They have set up a magic array here to seal the endless power of destiny, and my goal is to absorb the power of destiny here." Long Chen said, "You want to absorb the power of destiny here?" Everyone was shocked. "Are you crazy? The power of destiny here has been branded with the breath of the devil. How can you, a human race, absorb it? What a joke. This is impossible. You must have other intentions. Tell the truth quickly." Obviously, everyone did not believe Long Chen's words. The demon clan's strong men set up a large array here, and the laws of heaven and earth have changed. The power of destiny here cannot be absorbed by outsiders. Not to mention outsiders, except for the demon clan supreme, no one can absorb it. How can the demon clan make wedding clothes for others? This is the most basic common sense. These people are all knowledgeable and proud. Naturally, they don't believe Long Chen and think that Long Chen is lying. However, what they didn't know was that Long Chen's star origin had been activated. As long as he had enough power of destiny, he could condense the dragon energy of the heavenly veins. No matter what demon mark you have, once it enters Long Chen's body, it will be violently erased. Since you don't believe it, forget it. You continue to charge. I won't disturb you, Long Chen said, pretending to leave. Wait! So you stopped Long Chen. She looked at Long Chen and said firmly, I believe you, but there is one thing I can't promise you. Well, it seems that I only ask you to promise me one thing. Long Chen was a little speechless. This time we went deep into the demon cave to destroy their advancement to the Nine Veins Heavenly Saint. It is very likely that we will perish together with the enemy. We will try our best to help you buy time, but we are not sure whether we can buy a stick of incense. Therefore, we can only promise to help you to the best of our ability, but we can't guarantee the time. So you looked at Long Chen and said word by word. Long Chen's heart was slightly shocked. This Su Yu was upright and fearless. Many men could not match her. Long Chen had fought all his life and had seen many treacherous villains, but this was the first time he had seen such a female hero. Most importantly, her eyes were as clear as water. Only people with a pure heart could have such pure eyes, which showed that she was consistent inside and out, and was definitely not pretending to be generous and brave. It seems that I was short-sighted. I didn't expect that there were such generous and tragic people in our human race. Long Chen secretly praised in his heart. According to Su Yu's calculations, there must be more than 1/8 Veins Heavenly Saint here. Their goal is to severely injure the promoted person, interrupt his advancement, and buy more time for the human race. Okay, then let's decide it this way. It's up to you to help me for as long as you can. Long Chen said reluctantly. He liked these people in front of him very much and wanted to make friends with such warriors, but he didn't dare to do so, because his identity did not allow him to do so, because getting too close to them would only implicate them. Although Su Yu was already a powerful 8 Veins Heavenly Saint, compared with Long Chen's enemies, Su Yu didn't even have the ability to protect herself. Let alone, Li Chongying, Fan Tianda and the like are not comparable to Su Yu, not to mention that there is also Minglong Tianfeng who is backed by the Nether Emperor. Seeing Long Chen agreed, Su Yu smiled, stretched out her jade hand, clenched it into a fist, and pointed it at Long Chen. Long Chen smiled, stretched out his fist, and lightly touched hers, indicating that the verbal contract was reached. For most people, a verbal contract is almost meaningless, but for people who value trust and loyalty, a single action can entrust life and death. The gap between people is so big. Go! Long Chen waved his hand, took the lead, and rushed towards the demon army with everyone. The demon army has been maintaining a rapidly rotating formation, like a huge storm group. Seeing Long Chen and others coming, they shouted loudly and instantly prepared for battle. The direction is wrong. The center is not over there. Seeing that Long Chen's attack direction was off, someone shouted loudly. However, Long Chen ignored it, holding a dark spear, and rushed towards the demon army at an angle. I understand. When she saw this scene, Su Yu exclaimed. Her eyes were full of ecstasy, and she understood Long Chen's intention in an instant. Kill! Su Yu's spirit was greatly boosted, and she shouted loudly, and the 8 heavenly veins of dragon energy unfolded, and the strong wind whistled, and the demons in front of her were killed one after another. It must be said that Su Yu is still very smart. She can see the big picture from the small details. She saw Long Chen's strategy at a glance, and secretly cursed herself for being too stupid. The vortex formation of the demon clan is a typical attrition formation. She rushed straight from the periphery. As the team was stretched, the power would be dispersed and pulled by the centrifugal force. The more she rushed forward, the greater the pulling force, and the more dispersed the team was. However, Long Chen chose to rush diagonally and face the vortex. Although the impact force was great, most of the impact force was borne by the front of the team, and the force borne by the middle and back was very small, so the team would not be pulled, thus forming a strong cohesion. In just half an incense stick of time, the entire team had already embedded in the demon army, going upstream and rushing madly. Although the advancement speed was slow, it was indeed approaching the core area step by step. This gave everyone hope, and they couldn't help but be ecstatic. Friend, I underestimated you before. If you can survive this time, welcome to our Southern Alliance. We will make friends with you. A strong man who looked down on Long Chun and spoke rudely to him several times before said loudly at this time. They didn't like Long Chun before because they hated the arrogant tone of his words. Now, seeing Long Chun easily leading them in, they immediately changed their views on Long Chun. Southern Alliance? Long Chun was stunned. He seemed to have heard of this name, but he always thought that it was an alliance of a certain tribe, just like the Heavenly Demon Alliance. Unexpectedly, it was actually an alliance of the human race. The word alliance is a long-standing thing. People's hearts are too complicated. It is extremely difficult for them to form an alliance. Even if they form an alliance, they are all harboring ulterior motives and scheming against each other. To put it bluntly, they are a mess. But when he saw the strong men of the Southern Alliance, Long Chun suddenly thought of the Tianwu Alliance. For a moment he was filled with mixed feelings. Our Southern Alliance is one of the 4 alliances. The 4 alliances are composed of the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and northeast. There are more than 3,000 forces in total. Although we are not the strongest among the top forces, we are the most united. Even in the Tianyuan world, not many forces dare to bully us. So you introduced the 4 alliances to Long Chun with a proud face. It's too rude to just think about killing the demons. My name is Suyu. I don't know your name and where you are from. Suyu suddenly said a little embarrassedly. My name is Long Chun, and I come from Lingxiao Academy. Long Chun wanted to say that he was from Fengshan Hage, but he was not a disciple of Fengshan Hage after all, so it was more appropriate to report Lingxiao Academy. Lingxiao Academy? Su Yu and the others were stunned. Obviously, they had always lived in the Tianyuan world, and the name of Lingxiao Academy had been submerged in the long river of history. They had never heard of it. Be careful. There are masters coming to kill us. At this moment, someone exclaimed, and then the demonic energy attacked, and dozens of figures rushed towards Long Chun and others like lightning. Damn human race, you want to ruin Master Tiantong's great cause? Go to hell! Whoosh! A magic spear broke through the void, carrying the supreme demonic power, and stabbed straight at Long Chun. Be careful. It's the 7 Veins Heavenly Saint. Suyu shouted, fearing that Long Chun would suffer a loss. Her figure flashed and she was already in front of Long Chun. She waved her jade hand, and the divine light surged. The 8 heavenly veins dragon chi gathered to form a shield. Boom, boom, boom. The shield bloomed rapidly, and the 8 demon clan strongmen who rushed to Long Chun were instantly bounced away by the shield. What Long Chun didn't expect was that Su Yu's control of power was extremely exquisite. She used the power of the 8 veins freely, combining hardness and softness, and at the same time dissolved the power of 8 people, still with extreme ease. Long Chun didn't expect that Suyu looked heroic, but in fact she was a thoughtful woman. She distributed power just right without wasting a single cent. Captain of the 8th Division, follow me to charge. The core area is in front, and the formation must not be messed up. Suyu shouted, holding a spear, and rushed to the front. It must be said that Su Yu is also an excellent commander. The more critical the moment, the calmer he is. He rushes to the front, but does not attack recklessly. He is only responsible for leading the team and dispersing the strength in order to maintain the peak state. The closer to the target, the calmer he is. This is a very good character. Everyone's face is solemn. The fighting spirit rises, and the team formation gradually spreads out. In this way, Long Chun is protected by everyone in the middle. At this time, they no longer need Long Chun to command so that Long Chun can be protected. In addition, they have been fighting for many years, and their cooperation with each other has formed a certain tacit understanding. If Long Chun participates in it, it will disrupt their rhythm. After all, they are the main force when the war starts. Boom! It must be said that the strong men of the Southern Alliance, after going deep into the enemy camp, showed a calmness that impressed Long Chun. They have extremely rich combat experience and amazing cohesion. Their individual strength is not too strong, but they cooperate with each other and learn from each other's strengths. Although the tacit cooperation is not comparable to that of the Dragon Blood Legion, they are much stronger than ordinary teams. There is an altar ahead, and they are performing some kind of worship ceremony. A powerful 7 veins heavenly saint shouted loudly. Long Chun looked intently, and there was indeed an altar with a radius of tens of thousands of miles ahead. Countless figures were sitting cross-legged on the altar, performing some kind of worship ceremony. Those figures were surrounded by blood-colored light, which kept rising to the center of the altar. In the center of the altar, a man with goat horns on his head, long hair and a tall figure like an iron tower was sitting there, with 8 heaven veins dragon chi surging around him. All the heads of the heaven veins dragon chi were facing in one direction. Where the 8 dragons gathered, a vacuum zone appeared. Their endless energy was gushing out. As Suyu said, the man was using the combination of time, place, and people to condense the 9th heaven vein dragon chi. Above the 9 heavens, the power of destiny flowed, like a raging sea. Under the altar, the immortal energy was steaming and kept gushing upwards. The power of heaven and earth gathered on the man. On the altar, countless strong men were burning their own heavenly veins dragon chi, using their own original power to help the man condense the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, the strange phenomenon behind the man kept trembling, and a translucent dragon vein was slowly taking shape. The violent power kept washing the heaven and earth. The terrifying pressure made even Suyu feel a chill. It should be the guy called Tian Tong. It has entered a critical moment now. There is no time to entangle with this group of minions. Rush over as soon as possible, destroy the altar, and interrupt their ceremony. When Suyu saw the situation clearly, she shouted, and the 8 heavenly veins dragon chi burned instantly, and the strongest power burst out in an instant. The demon clan strongmen who besieged her were instantly shaken into powder. The target has appeared, Suyu no longer holds back, and the other strong men are the same. They all burn the heavenly veins dragon chi in exchange for the strongest combat power. Although they knew that burning the heavenly veins dragon chi would damage the source of their power, and they would not be able to fight for a long time. When their power was exhausted, they would die. But at this time they had no other choice. They had only one goal, which was to destroy the ritual of the demons. Only in this way could they save more human beings. Kill! Tens of millions of human beings roared to the sky. At this time, they were already in the center of the vortex. Under the full force of the explosion, the formation could no longer affect them, and they all started to fight desperately. Damn human beings want to ruin the adults' good deeds? Kill them all. At this time, a man stood up in the core of the altar. To everyone's surprise, he was also an 8 veins heavenly saint. He and the other 4 people closely guarded the tall man. The other 3 had the same cultivation as him, but the other 3 still closed their eyes and formed seals, and the heavenly veins dragon chi around them was still slowly flowing into the man's body. OM. The 8 veins heavenly saint moved and left his original position. He was tall, with demonic energy soaring into the sky. He took a step forward, with the magic sword in his hand, and slashed at Suyu's head, with a loud bang. The magic sword slashed on the spear. The spear slightly bent into an arc and was actually bent by the magic sword. However, the moment the spear shaft bent, the face of the demon clan warrior changed and he retreated suddenly. Puff! However, Suyu's spear, like a poisonous snake coming out of a hole, bent almost 180 degrees, and the tip of the spear went straight to the man's face. Bang! The demon clan warrior swung his sword to block, but with a loud bang, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and he suffered a great loss in one move. It turned out that Suyu's spear was extremely flexible. After bending, it absorbed the opponent's strength. The demon clan warrior was attacked by both himself and the opponent's strength at the same time in a hurry, so he suffered a great loss. You guys entangle him, I'll go. Suyu succeeded in one strike and severely injured the demon clan warrior, and handed him over to her subordinates. She was about to rush to the altar, But when she looked at the altar, her mouth opened wide for a moment. Because at some point Long Chun, who had been in the team behind her, actually appeared on the altar and had quietly come to the man. Long Chun used the teleportation power of the heaven-flipping seal to quietly appear in front of the man, gestured to his face with his hand, and then swung his hand and slapped him hard. Pa! Amid the exclamations of countless people, there was a shocking explosion, and the man was slapped hard on the face by Long Chun, and the man flew out like a meteor. Puff, puff, puff. The figure was like lightning, like a terrifying humanoid weapon, directly piercing the Demon Clan's formation. In a straight line, countless Demon Clan warriors were smashed into powder. The vortex formation was plowed out of a vacuum zone. At that moment, both the Demon Clan and the Human Clan warriors were stunned by this scene. However, before everyone could react, Long Chun had already sat on the throne, replacing the man, and slowly formed seals with his hands. OM. The divine ring behind Long Chun opened up the world, and the stars lit up the sky. Endless energy between heaven and earth rushed towards him. This guy actually began to absorb energy as if nothing had happened. Kill! At this time, the powerful demons on the altar woke up from their trance. When they saw this scene, they roared and rushed towards Long Chun from all directions. Protect Long Chun. When Suyu saw that Long Chun interrupted the other party's ceremony, she shouted, raised her spear and rushed to the altar frantically. She wanted to fulfill her promise to Long Chun. Damn human race! I'm going to kill you! The man who was slapped away by Long Chun was awakened from his state of meditation. The power of Long Chun's slap was not strong, and Long Chun did not think of slapping him to death. Long Chun just wanted him to vacate his position without destroying the formation. At this time, Long Chun was sitting in the center of the altar, with a divine ring covering the sky and stars shining in the world. Like a whale sucking water, he was madly devouring the energy between heaven and earth. His speed was many times faster than that of the man. Lord Tiantong, calm down. Maintain the fluctuation of the power of the heavenly vein, and never let the dragon energy of the 9th heavenly vein dissipate. Seeing the man furious, an 8th-vein heavenly saint saw this and shouted hurriedly. At this time, Tiantong was still in the state of promotion. Although it was interrupted, as long as it stabilized, there was still a chance to continue to condense. Master Tiantong, wait a moment. Let us kill these stupid human races. Another 8-pulse heavenly saint also shouted. They rushed towards Long Chun like lightning. The 4 8-pulse heavenly saints rushed towards Long Chun at the first time. They wanted to kill Long Chun and make him give up his position. Boom boom. 2 explosions, a long spear broke through the air. The sharp tip of the spear pointed directly at their vital points. The 2 had to free their hands to defend, and as a result, the 2 strong men were almost instantly picked up by Suyu. Suyu's aura was much stronger than these 4 people. Although they were all 8-pulse heavenly saints, the pressure was much more condensed. It was not known whether the 4 people contributed too much of the original power, resulting in a decrease in strength. Even if they burned the power of the heavenly pulse, they were still not Suyu's opponents. But after attacking the 2 people, Suyu's attack slowed down and he was no longer able to chase the remaining 2. Boom boom. However, at this time, the captains of the 8 teams came and they burst out with all their strength, fighting for their lives, forming a human wall to block the 2 people, but after a few moves, their defense was broken. It's not that they are not brave enough, but the gap between the strength of the 7 veins heavenly saint and the 8 veins heavenly saint is too huge, and they have tried their best. Suyu was entangled by the other 2 8 veins heavenly saints at this time, unable to come to support. Seeing someone killing Long Chun, he couldn't help but shout loudly, Long Chun, be careful. At this time, Long Chun was concentrating on absorbing the power of heaven and earth, and seemed to be unaware of the dangers in the outside world. It seemed that he had given his life to them. The 8 veins heavenly saint held the magic sword and slashed at Long Chun's head. Seeing that Long Chun was about to die under the magic sword, Suyu was very anxious and the spear in his hand suddenly fell out of his hand. Dang! There was a loud bang, just when the magic sword was only 3 inches away from Long Chen's head. The spear shook the magic sword away, and the 8 veins heavenly saint of the demon clan was also taken away. Kill this woman! Seeing that Su Yu had no weapon, the 2 demon clan strongmen shouted at the same time, holding the magic blade and killing Su Yu. Boom, boom, boom! At this time, the strong men of the Southern Alliance rushed to the front, forming a human-shaped torrent and rushing towards them. Tens of thousands of six-pulse heavenly saints attacked together, and their strength condensed into a rope. The violent force frightened the 2 8-pulse heavenly saints, and they were directly pushed back several steps. Snap! The attack of the crowd gave Su Yu an opportunity, and the spear flew back to Su Yu's hand, and the crisis was immediately resolved. Boom, boom, boom! Su Yu held the spear in his hand, and his fighting spirit soared to the sky. He fought against the 2 8-pulse heavenly saints alone, while the other strong men gathered together and rushed to the 8 captains to support them. It must be said that the strong men of the Southern Alliance had extremely rich combat experience, and they were fearless and extremely brave. With mutual cooperation, they completed the formation transformation in almost an instant, surrounded Long Chen, and at the same time, the 4 8-pulse heavenly saints were gradually forced away from the altar. Seeing this scene, the man named Tian Tong was very anxious and roared, "Go all out! Kill them all quickly!" The man named Tian Tong had the most terrifying aura, but he didn't dare to do it, because his 9th heavenly vein dragon energy was in its embryonic stage and had not yet taken shape. Once he used his power, it would be easy for the 9th heavenly vein dragon energy to collapse. He has spent a lot of effort for this 9th heavenly vein dragon energy, and he must not fail. At this time, Long Chen was frantically devouring the energy between heaven and earth. The power of the heavenly veins above the 9 heavens was rapidly decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the immortal energy gushing under the altar was gradually dissipating. Even the runes on the altar were beginning to dim rapidly. It would take Tian Tong several days to absorb all the power. Judging from this posture, it would be absorbed in less than half an incense stick of time. Boom! Su Yu rushed frantically, fighting 1 against 2, and desperately killing the 2 strong men, and they retreated again and again. Half of the 8 captains were already injured and covered in blood. 4 of them were fighting 1, and all of them were tactics of dying together with the enemy. 8 people actually blocked 2 8 veins heavenly saints. The demon army was madly rushing under the command of Tian Tong, but the demon warriors were like a group of headless flies, attacking randomly at this time. At this time, the importance of formation can be seen. No matter how they rushed, they could not break through the defense formed by the Southern Alliance. What's worse, it affected the attack of the top demon warriors and slowed down their rhythm. The man named Tian Tong was furious at this time. Seeing the endless energy being absorbed by Long Chen, he could not regain that position. The remaining power was not enough for him to condense a complete 9th dragon vein. Damn human race, you ruined Sha Tiantong's good thing. Don't even think about living. Sha Tong Tian roared. He couldn't bear it anymore. He had to take back his position, even if it was the risk of the sky vein dragon energy shattering. Otherwise it would be too late. Boom! Suddenly, the void trembled. The space was torn apart. A sawtooth long knife tore through the void and slashed with boundless demonic energy. Su Yu hurriedly blocked it. As a result, Su Yu's arms shook violently, and the spear flew out of her hand. At the same time, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and she flew backwards. Sister Su Yu. No one expected that this Sha Tian Tong was so terrifying. Su Yu, who was burning the Tianmai dragon chi, couldn't even take his move. Don't worry about me, guard Long Chen. As long as Long Chen absorbs enough power of heaven and earth, he will never be able to condense Tianmai dragon chi, and he will fail. The strong men of the Southern Alliance saw Su Yu injured and immediately rushed to rescue. The formation was in chaos and they shouted anxiously. Their purpose was to destroy Sha Tian Tong's advancement to 9 veins heavenly saint. Since Long Chen has this ability, they must assist him with all their strength. Even if they die, they must not let the demon clan be the first to appear in the Nine Veins Heavenly Saint. Go to hell. Seeing this moment, he was still thinking about stopping himself. Sha Tiantong's face was distorted, and the serrated long sword in his hand slashed down in the air. On the long sword, there were faint shadows of 9 heavenly veins of dragon energy. At this time, he was no longer an ordinary 8-veined heavenly saint. He had already stepped half a foot into the realm of 9-veined heavenly saints. Sister Suyu. Seeing that Suyu was about to die under the magic sword, the strong men of the Southern Alliance were furious, but no one had the ability to save her, and could only watch her die like this. Buzz! However, at this moment, the long spear that was shaken away, shining with stars all around, smashed hard into the magic sword. Boom! There was a shocking explosion, and Sha Tiantong groaned, and was shaken back by the long spear. What? The sudden change shocked everyone. Sha Tiantong hated everyone and showed no mercy, but his full-strength attack was actually knocked away by the flying spear. His whole body was surging with blood, his knuckles were cracked, and he almost couldn't hold the long sword. He looked behind Suyu with a look of horror. He saw Long Chun on the altar at a glance. When he saw Long Chun, his pupils shrank suddenly. At this time, there was a 10,000-mile-long dragon energy behind Long Chun, which was surging. It was full of starlight. It rotated behind Long Chun, and all the energy between heaven and earth was swallowed up by it in an instant. Suyu escaped from death, and she was also stunned. There was still a lot of energy left in the world before, but Long Chen's dragon energy appeared and sucked it all away in an instant. Even though she was knowledgeable, she had never seen such dragon energy. It was like a giant dragon of stars, overlooking the world, contained endless star power. It seemed to be a microcosm of the universe. Snap! Suyu stretched out her hand and grabbed the spear in front of her. At this time, the starlight on the spear slowly receded, but the remaining power in it was still not released. Boom! At this moment, an 8-veins heavenly saint came to kill her. She blocked it casually. With a loud bang, the weapon of the 8-veins heavenly saint was actually blasted by her shot, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Suyu was shocked. She could not imagine that the remaining power in the spear was so terrifying that it severely injured the 8-veins heavenly saint with one blow. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Behind Long Chun, the divine ring trembled, and the heavenly veins dragon chi flowed. At this time he was like a starry sky war god, looking down on the eternity. This is a bit exaggerated, so much heavenly veins dragon chi, but only one vein is perfect, and it is impossible to condense a second heavenly vein dragon chi. Long Chun felt the power of the heavenly vein dragon chi, and his eyes were full of shock. Originally, Long Chun thought that with so much destiny power, he could almost condense 3 heavenly veins dragon chi, or at least 2. However, when the heavenly vein dragon chi reached its peak, it devoured all the power of heaven and earth in one breath, and then there was no movement. There was no sign of the second heavenly vein dragon chi. Don't be ungrateful. The more you consume, the stronger the heavenly vein dragon chi you condense. Chen Qinding said unhappily. Die! At this moment, Sha Tiantong reacted from his shock and rushed towards Long Chun with a roar. Who? So you couldn't figure out Long Chen's situation at this time. Although Long Chen's star dragon vein looked extremely amazing, the fluctuations were extremely strange. Seemed very strong but also seemed weak. She immediately tried to stop him. Get out of the way, you damn ant! Seeing Suyu trying to stop him without knowing whether to live or die, Sha Tiantong was furious. The magic knife turned around and slashed at Suyu. Who? Just as Suyu was about to resist with all her strength, the void suddenly twisted and a figure appeared in front of her. That person was Long Chun. Long Chun. When Long Chun appeared, Suyu exclaimed, because Long Chun just stood in front of her, with his hands behind his back, facing the crazy slash of Sha Tiantong. he did not block. Bang! In Su Yu's horrified eyes, Sha Tiantong's magic knife slashed fiercely on Long Chen's shoulder. But this earth-shattering knife did not hurt Long Chen at all. At this time, Long Chen's starry sky battle suit appeared around his body, with starlight flowing and divine light shining. The sharp magic knife was only an inch away from Long Chen's shoulder, but it could not move forward any further. Seeing this scene, Su Yu covered her cherry lips with her jade hands, her eyes full of disbelief. Long Chen only condensed a heavenly vein dragon chi, but he could ignore Sha Tiantong's attack. Is he a monster? Everyone, both enemies and friends, was stunned. They couldn't help but stop fighting, slowly retreated, and stared at Long Chen. Sha Tiantong was also dumbfounded. He couldn't believe what he saw. Tick-tick. The devil blood overflowed from his tiger's mouth and slowly dripped along the handle of the knife. He chopped Long Chen with a knife and Long Chen was safe and sound, but he was injured. Long Chen condensed a complete heavenly vein dragon chi. He felt that this heavenly vein dragon chi contained a power that even he was afraid of. The reason why he didn't fight back was to test the current star power. Long Chen risked being injured to evaluate his own strength, which would help him know his level better. However, after this knife, Long Chen was calm on the surface, but his heart was already excited beyond words. Under the horrified gazes of countless people, Long Chen pretended to be indifferent and squinted his eyes at the killing heavenly passage. Killing heavenly passage? Killing a road to heaven? Unfortunately, I met Master Long San, and this road is blocked. I don't believe it. Killing heavenly passage roared and retreated suddenly. He opened his arms, and the dragon energy of the 8 heavenly veins burned rapidly. His breath soared rapidly and exploded exponentially. At this time, he had fallen into madness, and he didn't care whether the embryonic form of the heavenly vein would be shattered. He directly burned the heavenly vein and entered a violent state. At this time, his breath flowed, and thousands of paths were torn apart. His breath was several times higher than before. The terrifying demonic power pressed everyone to suffocate. Even Su Yu couldn't bear the terrifying pressure, and was forced to retreat again and again. What a terrifying demonic power! One of the 8 captains couldn't help but exclaimed. Such a terrifying guy was destroyed by us to advance. It's worth it even if he dies. Another captain laughed. I don't think we will die. This Long Chen is more terrifying than that monster. Believe me, I have a feeling that none of us will die. Another captain said confidently. As they spoke, they gestured to shrink the team and slowly retreated behind Long Chen. They were all experienced people. Although they had misjudged Long Chen before and didn't realize that Long Chen was a terrifying strong man, if they couldn't see the way now, it would mean they were too stupid. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the heavenly veins of Sha Tiantong was still burning wildly. His aura was still soaring rapidly, and his power seemed to be endless. The pressure was so strong that it made people's scalps numb. The strong men of the demon clan all retreated at this time. They formed a huge encirclement. Their only goal was to prevent everyone from escaping. They knew that Sha Tiantong was completely furious at this time. The long plan was destroyed. If they let these people run away again, Sha Tiantong's anger would not be something they could bear. Long Chen, I will take action to attract his attention and interrupt his improvement. You take the opportunity to give him a fatal blow. Seeing that the aura of Sha Tiantong was still rising and there was no one around to protect him, so you sent a voice message to Long Chen. This Sha Tiantong was amazingly powerful, but his brain was not very good. If he was attacked by surprise, it would easily cause the reversal of the heavenly vein if he burned the power of the heavenly vein so blatantly. It was a godsend to take action at this time. No, I will let him know what hope is now, and then tell him. Long Chen shook his head, and a smile appeared on his face. What is despair? With a loud bang, the world trembled, and a violent ripple spread rapidly in all directions with Sha Tongtian as the core. His crazy soaring breath finally stopped, and to everyone's surprise, 9 heavenly veins dragon chi suddenly appeared behind him. Among these 9 heavenly veins dragon chi, 8 were solid and 1 was transparent. When Suyu and others saw this transparent heavenly vein dragon chi, their hearts fell to the bottom in an instant. How could this happen? He still condensed the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi. Did we act too late? A captain said very unwillingly. The transparent heavenly vein dragon chi, the same size as the other 9 heavenly vein dragon chi, has begun to take shape, which means that Sha Tiantong has already stepped half a foot into the level of 9 veins heavenly saint, and the condensation of the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi is just a matter of time. In other words, their efforts were in vain. They failed to destroy the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi, but only prolonged it for a little time. Damn it! The captain gnashed his teeth. He knew that within a month at most, this Sha Tiantong would be able to condense a complete heavenly vein dragon chi, and then advance to the 9 veins heavenly saint. At that time, the disaster of the human race's strongmen would come. Ha ha ha! When he saw the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi behind him, Sha Tiantong laughed up to the sky. I can't believe it. I actually condensed the prototype of the heavenly vein. This means that the destiny is on the side of my demon race. Human race, only destruction awaits you. Ha ha ha! Sha Tiantong laughed wildly. In his rage, he burned the heavenly vein dragon chi. He originally thought that under the violent destruction, the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi would melt and disappear. However, after melting and disappearing, it would bring him a huge increase in strength. However, Sha Tiantong didn't expect that the violent burning did not burn the 9th heavenly vein dragon chi, but stimulated it and accelerated its formation. Boom! Sha Tiantong clenched his fist fiercely, and the void exploded. With his palm as the center, the violent power scattered, and cracks appeared in the void. The power of a grip was so terrifying that Suyu and others were instantly desperate. Even if the 9-pulse heavenly saint only stepped half a foot into it, the 8-pulse heavenly saint was like an ant in front of them. The gap between the 8-pulse and 9-pulse was too big. Suyu and others knew this terrifying gap. They knew they would die, but they still came to destroy it. Unfortunately, fate made him succeed. With the cruelty of the demons, once they met the human race, the fate of the human race would be extremely tragic. Sha Tiantong condensed the 9th heavenly pulse dragon chi, and the demons cheered loudly. When they looked at Long Chun and others, their mouths were full of cruel grins. What are you laughing at? If you don't make a move, are you still waiting for me to give you a share? Long Chun looked at the arrogant and laughing Sha Tiantong and said lightly, Long Chun, you are very strong and have unlimited potential. You can't die here. We will burn our blood souls and set up a great array to trap demons. We can only buy you a breath of time at most. You should know what to do. Suyu took a deep breath. A look of determination appeared in her eyes, and she sent a message to Long Chun. She knew that everyone would die today. They were not capable of facing the 9 veins heavenly saint. She also saw the horror of Long Chun, so she decided to fight for a chance for Long Chun to escape. Don't make trouble. If you are like this, I will fall in love with you. Long Chun shook his head and said. Long Chun did not send a message, but spoke directly. Long Chun's words caught Suyu off guard. Her face flushed. It seemed that no one had ever said such straightforward words to her in her life. However, thinking about it carefully, Long Chun said, you, instead of you, Suyu said angrily, it's already a certain time, and you are still making such a boring joke? Escape, and remember to avenge us. Snap. Suyu clasped her hands together suddenly and formed seals with both hands. As she moved, the strong men of the Southern Alliance formed seals at the same time. Their movements were uniform, and the seal method was exactly the same as Suyu's. Obviously, Suyu had already communicated with them. Want to escape? Dream on. Seeing Suyu's action, Sha Tiantong showed a sneer on his face, and his figure flashed, and the whole person disappeared in an instant. Suyu suddenly felt her soul tremble, and her palms could not move. She was horrified to find that she was locked by the terrifying power of destiny, and her magic could not be activated. Whoosh! A devil's claw appeared in front of her, and went straight to her throat. At this time, Suyu could not move at all, and could only watch the furry devil's claw grab, but could not resist. Snap! Just as the devil's claw was about to touch Suyu's white jade neck, a big hand slapped hard on the void, and the void collapsed, revealing the figure of Sha Tiantong. Long Chen's slap accurately hit Sha Tiantong's face. Bang! Sha Tiantong's nails were less than an inch away from Suyu's neck, and suddenly flew backwards. Damn! Do you think I'm fake? Sha Tiantong was fast, but Long Chen was even faster. He started later but arrived first. Even though he was hiding in the void, his position could be accurately determined. When Sha Tiantong was blown away, Suyu suddenly felt relaxed, and the terrifying power pressing on him disappeared instantly. Thank you for your kindness. Leave it to me. Long Chen looked at Suyu, who was in shock, and all the strong men of the Southern Alliance, and grinned. Although they were not very strong, they were all true warriors and worthy of admiration. I'll kill you. Sha Tiantong was beaten away by Long Chen, and his whole face was burning. A deep palm print appeared on his big face, and in that palm print, there were actually some stars flowing. The severe pain and shame made him roar in anger. Bang! Sha Tiantong stomped his feet hard. The void exploded, and the figure disappeared instantly. Swish! Suddenly, the void in front of Long Chen was torn apart, and Sha Tiantong's claws rushed straight to Long Chen's shoulders. On the claws, the magic energy flowed, the power of the sky veins rose, and the power of the claws changed the color of the sky and the earth. Pa! Facing Sha Tiantong's violent attack, Long Chen opened both hands at the same time, and on his palms, the stars flowed, and he just grabbed the opponent's claws. The star hand and the devil's claw faced each other, and the world trembled violently. Die! Sha Tiantong roared, using his claws to pull hard. He was tall and pulled hard, trying to tear Long Chen apart. Buzz! However, he tried his best to tear it apart, but Long Chen's hands only trembled slightly and could not tear it apart at all. Is that all your strength? Stupid demon, he underscored. The thousands of miles of dragon veins flowed behind Long Chen, giving him endless power. Long Chen felt unprecedentedly powerful and directly started to mock Sha Tiantong. Sha Tiantong was spit on his face. His eyes turned blood red in an instant, and his whole face was distorted to the point of being completely deformed. Buzz! He opened his mouth suddenly, and a blood-colored ball of light appeared in his mouth. Pa! However, before he could spit out this ball of light, Long Chen suddenly raised his knees, raised his calves suddenly, passed through Sha Tiantong's chest, and kicked him on the chin with his heel. Boom! Sha Tiantong was kicked into the air by Long Chen, followed by a loud bang, and billowing black smoke came out of Sha Tiantong's mouth. Can you imitate the moves of Master Long San? Long Chen stood with his hands behind his back, looking at Sha Tiantong in the distance, and said proudly, Crack, crack, crack. People saw pieces of broken teeth scattered from Sha Tiantong's mouth. At that moment, everyone seemed to be petrified. At that moment, the whole place was dead silent, and the world was filled with the sound of the teeth of the killing heavenly blade tearing apart. Looking at the fragments of teeth scattered between heaven and earth, Suyu and the others felt their scalps tingling. They looked at Long Chen. At this moment, the divine ring behind Long Chen was trembling. The sea of stars was flickering, and the dragon veins of stars were surging back and forth behind him. The stars were shining in the universe, and the dragons were swimming in the sea. They had never seen such a strange phenomenon. In addition to the strange rhythm, the phenomenon was also shrinking and expanding regularly, as if its breath was changing with Long Chen's breathing. The starlight was endless and vast. At that moment, wherever the starlight went, all the laws and ways were dominated by Long Chen. With one breath, the life and death of all spirits depended on Long Chen's thoughts. As the dragon energy of the star veins flowed, Long Chen felt unprecedented strength. After a small test, He felt the pleasure of the power of the stars flowing unimpeded in his body. Now he understood that only by condensing the dragon energy of the sky veins could he truly master the power of the stars. What he had touched before was just the fur of the power of the stars. So that's how it is. The star vein dragon chi is the bridge and medium for my Dantian starseed to communicate with the 9 heaven stars. Long Chen thought to himself. He finally got to the secret of the 9-star hegemon body art. That's right. Now you are the real 9-star hegemon body art because your modification of the 9-star hegemon body art has caused it to mutate. But from the current point of view, this mutation will only make you stronger, but at the same time it also means a more difficult promotion. You have to be mentally prepared. Chen Ding said. It is connected with Long Chen's soul, and it naturally knows what Long Chen is thinking. In order to prevent Long Chen from being overwhelmed by surprise, it first poured a basin of cold water on Long Chen. Hee, let's drink today, who cares about so much? At least I know that I can be as arrogant as I want now. Long Chen smiled. The completion of a heaven vein dragon chi has brought about earth-shaking changes in his power. The 8-vein heavenly saint is no longer in his eyes, and the half-baked 9-vein heavenly saint in front of him is nothing more than that to him. Today I will use you to test how strong my heavenly vein dragon chi is. Long Chen looked at the furious Sha Tian Tong in the distance, and his figure flashed, and he rushed over like a flash of lightning. Demon Flame Slash. Sha Tian Tong saw Long Chen coming, roared, and directly used the magic knife. The magic knife in his hand was a peerless magic weapon, with a long history and amazing origins. Now under the burning of his heavenly vein dragon chi, it was as if the ancient evil demon had awakened. With one slash, the sky was torn apart, and the piercing sound of breaking through the air was enough to tear one's soul apart. Bang! Facing Sha Tiantong's knife, Long Chen did not retreat or avoid. On his fist, the stars lit up, and a dragon shadow pattern flowed, and it hit the magic knife hard. With a loud bang, the void disappeared, and Long Chen and Sha Tiantong shook at the same time and took a few steps back. Catch the magic weapon with bare hands? Su Yu and others were shocked. Everything happened too fast. They only saw Long Chen's figure disappear, and then the scene of the knife and fist connecting. Long Chen actually fought against Sha Tiantong's peerless magic soldiers with bare hands, and they fought evenly. Sha Tiantong's aura at this time was several times that of before, and the magic soldiers were even more powerful under his full support. Long Chen actually took it with his bare hands. Is Long Chen a monster? He clearly has a big knife behind him, but he fought with bare hands. This is clearly looking down on Sha Tiantong. A captain couldn't help but say, as powerful as Sha Tiantong is, it seems that he is not qualified to let Long Chen use his weapons. How arrogant and domineering is this? Boom, boom, boom. Just as people were shocked, Sha Tiantong roared again and again, and the magic knife flew like a windmill, slashing wildly. And Long Chen waved his fists, opening and closing them, and fought against the endless knife shadows, without retreating at all. Swish, swish, swish. The terrifying aftermath of the sword energy tore the void apart, and the void was slashed with cracks. One after another, the sword energy slashed towards Su Yu and others. Su Yu was shocked and tried her best to block it. As a result, there was a loud bang, and her blood was surging, and she almost spurted out a mouthful of blood. Sister Su Yu. Everyone was shocked. I'm fine. Su Yu waved her hands hurriedly. She was shocked. This sword energy was just the aftermath of Long Chen's shattering, and it was so far away that it still had such a terrifying power. So how violent must the power of the two be at this time? Su Yu's scalp was numb. The power of the two was beyond her understanding. Bang! There was another loud bang, and Long Chen smashed his fist on the magic sword of Sha Tiantong. The two flew backwards for hundreds of miles at the same time, looking at each other in the air. A fierce battle, but in just a few blinks of an eye, the two actually fought hundreds of moves. Long Chen stood above the void, with his hands behind his back, and the stars were flowing behind him, like a starry sky god of war, overlooking the eternity. Compared to Long Chen's calmness, Sha Tiantong was already panting. His eyes were full of rage and fear. He couldn't imagine how a single-line heavenly saint could be so strong. "I don't believe it!" Sha Tiantong roared to the sky. Suddenly, his whole body was bleeding. The devil blood on his body gradually gathered into various patterns. When the pattern appeared, the bloody smell instantly spread. When they smelled the bloody smell, Su Yu and others suddenly trembled in their souls. Their hair stood on end, and the strong threat of death filled their hearts. "This is a curse," Captain screamed. "No, this is not a curse. This is a sacrifice." Su Yu also said with horror, "Sacrifice? Does Sha Tiantong want to die? Sacrifice with his own blood soul?" Everyone was horrified. Su Yu was not sure what this trick was, but she knew that this Sha Tiantong was going to release a terrifying big move. Once it was released successfully, his power might be raised to an unprecedented height. Su Yu was extremely nervous. She wanted Long Chun to interrupt his sacrifice immediately. However, Long Chun was looking at Sha Tiantong quietly at this moment. He was not nervous or flustered. On the contrary, he seemed to have some expectation in his eyes. Su Yu saw this scene. The words came to her lips, but she swallowed them back. She turned her head and said to everyone, "This is a rare battle in the world. Many people will never have the opportunity to encounter it in their lifetime. Everyone should concentrate and calm down, and carefully feel the opportunity under the endless death suppression. If we can leave alive, it will be easier to break through the bottleneck in the future." Yes. Hearing Su Yu's words, everyone's heart shuddered. Before, they were only concerned with fear, but they didn't think of learning from this battle and using the will of the peerless strong to stimulate and inspire their potential. It was simply stupid. With Su Yu's reminder, everyone immediately put life and death aside, and used their hearts to feel the changes in the way of heaven. Listen to the voice of the 10,000 ways, and comprehend the will of the strongest. The demon ancestor has blessed us, and the vision of all demons is coming. Suddenly, Sha Tiantong roared, and in the vision behind him, endless demon shadows emerged. At that moment, his aura suddenly surged more than 10 times, and the violent aura directly shattered the void. "Death!" Sha Tiantong roared, and suddenly chopped down with a knife. People only saw his long knife raised, and a knife shadow had already chopped in front of Long Chun. Everything happened too fast, so fast that Long Chun didn't even have time to react before he was chopped by a knife. Long Chun! Everything happened too suddenly, Su Yu and others exclaimed, and at this time, the place where Long Chun was had exploded, and endless avenue runes were flying, forming endless gullies. Everything happened too fast. The sword of Sha Tiantong cut off the space-time confinement. No one could avoid it. It's over. When they saw the location of Long Chun, a deep gully was cut into the void. Seeing endless space fragments flying, Su Yu and others' hearts instantly fell to the bottom. Who could have thought that Sha Tiantong was so powerful? Such a terrifying sword burst out instantly, and did not give Long Chun any chance at all. Long Chun died. Su Yu and others were extremely sad, and a trace of sadness appeared on their faces. If Long Chun could listen to him and escape first, he would definitely be a stronghold of the human race when he grew up. However, there are not so many ifs. Long Chun died, and it would be their turn next. Wow! This blow is powerful enough. At this moment, a lazy voice came. When they heard this voice, no matter the enemy or the friend, they couldn't believe their ears. They hurriedly looked for the sound, and saw that the endless runes were flowing at the location of Long Chun. The distorted space was slowly recovering, and Long Chun's figure gradually appeared. What? When seeing Long Chun still standing there, Sha Tiantong's pupils shrank sharply. At this time, Long Chun's black robe fluttered. His long hair danced. He raised his left hand, and a star shield with a diameter of about 10 feet condensed in front of him. At this time, the star shield cracked, and a crack was cut out. The crack extended all the way to Long Chun's palm. A big cut was cut out in the palm of Long Chen's hand, and blood slowly flowed out. I am surprised that this attack can hurt me. Long Chen looked at the cut on his palm and said lightly. While speaking, the wound on his palm healed instantly. Such a terrible attack only hurt his skin. However, Long Chen's words were like poisonous arrows, piercing into Sha Tongtian's heart, and that contemptuous tone was the greatest humiliation to him. You damned human! Today I will cut you into pieces. Sha Tiantong roared, pointed his magic knife to the sky, and the shadows of the 10,000 demons behind him trembled. The runes on the magic knife flowed, and the roars of the 10,000 demons resounded through the world. This knife seemed to be blessed by the 10,000 demons. When the knife fell, the stars in the sky were shaking. Don't talk big. If you were really sure of killing me, you wouldn't use a sneak attack. You have already developed a fear of me in your heart. Your anger is just to cover up your inner panic. Your shouting is just to give yourself courage. Long Chen sneered. Buzz! Facing Sha Tongtian's violent knife, Long Chen opened his hands, and endless stars flowed. The sea of stars behind him dimmed a little bit in an instant. The endless power of the stars gathered in his palm, forming a star ball. This star ball was like the incarnation of a universe. One star god falls, Long Chen shouted, and the star ball in his hand just crashed into the terrifying magic knife. With a loud bang, the terrifying sword shadow exploded. The terrifying magic blade and one of Sha Tiantong's arms were directly shattered by the stars. Sha Tiantong bled profusely, his face full of horror. His own magic blade was blown up. He was completely scared. Suddenly, a jade token appeared in his hand. He wants to escape, Suyu shouted when he saw the jade token. Swish! However, as soon as the jade token appeared, a big hand covered with stars grabbed his wrist, pulled it hard, and tore his arm off from the shoulder blade. Ah! Unlike the previous shattering, the piercing pain made Sha Tiantong scream miserably. Bang! Long Chen kicked him in the back, and with a loud bang, Sha Tiantong's blood gushed out, and his body cracked. He was almost blown up by Long Chen's kick. Whoosh! Sha Tiantong was kicked away by Long Chen and flew directly in front of Suyu. Suyu was shocked and almost instinctively stabbed with a spear. Puff! The spear pierced directly through Sha Tiantong's eyebrows. Sha Tiantong's body trembled violently, and his eyes were full of fear and unwillingness. He eventually died in Suyu's hands. His eyes stared at Suyu, and he was furious and felt endless humiliation. Long Chen didn't kill him because he didn't even have the qualifications to die in Long Chen's hands. Humiliation, endless humiliation. However, whether it was humiliation or anger, his life force was rapidly fading, and the light in front of him was gradually disappearing. In the end, a generation of demon clan pride became a cold corpse. Suyu was also stunned. She actually killed Sha Tiantong. Such a terrifying existence actually died in her hands. Warriors of the Southern Alliance, swing your weapons, cut off the heads of the enemies, reap their lives to your heart's content, and use their demon blood to create the glory of the human race. Kill! Long Chen shouted and gave the order directly. Hearing Long Chen's order, the strong men of the Southern Alliance were immediately excited, and even forgot that Long Chen was not their leader at all. After Long Chen shouted, they roared and waved their weapons to kill the demons. The demons didn't dare to believe that the powerful Sha Tiantong was really dead. They seemed to be in a nightmare. However, the weapons of the human race awakened them. However, after they woke up, they sadly found that this was not a dream at all. Puff, puff, puff. The strong men of the Southern Alliance were extremely fierce and fearless. Especially after witnessing Long Chen's battle, they were all excited and brave. Warriors of the Southern Alliance, release your anger as much as you can. There is no need for mercy or kindness on the battlefield. What is needed on the battlefield is confidence and courage. We must believe that when the weapons are in our hands, we are invincible, and the gods and demons in the heavens cannot stop us from moving forward. Heaven and earth will bless us. My life is the destiny of heaven, and my way is the way of heaven. The enemies in front of us are the shackles on our path of cultivation. Kill them and destroy them, and our future will be smooth. Charge. Kill. Long Chun shouted loudly, like the decree of the gods, resounding through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. As a result, Long Chen's shock made the eyes of tens of millions of strong men in the Southern Alliance red. They were like being hypnotized, and the dragon energy of the sky veins around them was expanding wildly, and their bodies seemed to explode. Only by killing the enemy can they untie their shackles. Every time an enemy is killed, the sense of restraint will be relieved. They seem to have a seal on their bodies, and killing the enemy is the only way to untie the seal. Long Chun. Suyu and the others were frantically chasing after the demon warriors, but as they were killing, she felt something was wrong. She looked at Long Chun, and Long Chun blinked at her. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, waves of terrifying auras rose up, and Suyu was shocked to find that as they kept killing the demon warriors, the warriors of the Southern Alliance broke through one after another. 4 veins were promoted to 5 veins, 5 veins were promoted to 6 veins, and 6 veins were promoted to 7 veins. In a few breaths, hundreds of thousands of warriors were promoted. The most terrifying thing was that the promotion was still continuing. Suyu's pretty face was full of disbelief. She looked at Long Chun in the void, and was so excited that she couldn't say a word. Kill as much as you want. This is a gift from the demons to the warriors. It would be a waste if you don't take it. Seeing Suyu looking at him stupidly, Long Chun sent a voice message to her. A gift from the demons? Suyu realized that after Sha Tiantong was killed, the fluctuations between heaven and earth had changed. Could it be that? She suddenly thought that after Sha Tiantong was killed, he absorbed endless energy from heaven and earth, and prepared to condense the 9th heavenly vein dragon energy. Later, his advancement was interrupted, and Long Chun sucked the power between heaven and earth dry. Now, with the death of Sha Tiantong, it seems that the energy absorbed by him was released again. Moreover, Suyu found that as the demons were killed, she could faintly see the power of destiny and the fluctuations of heaven and earth merging, and finally being absorbed by the heavenly vein dragon energy of everyone. So you suddenly realized that this must be related to the formation arranged by the demons. Although she didn't know the details, she knew that killing the demons could allow everyone to quickly break through the bottleneck. At the moment of killing Suyu, she respected Long Chun as a god, and immediately caught up with an 8-veined heavenly saint of the demons and fought a crazy bloody battle. The 8-veined heavenly saint of the demon clan wanted to escape at first, but there were too many people around him, and the speed of others affected him. He gritted his teeth and began to kill his own people frantically, but even so, he was still caught up by Suyu. Puff! Suyu finally paid a certain price and killed the opponent. At the moment of killing the opponent, Suyu clearly felt that her heavenly vein dragon chi was fluctuating wildly, and there were signs of a breakthrough. This further proved her inference, and she began to kill more frantically, rushing straight to kill another 8-veined heavenly saint. Boom, boom, boom. There were too many powerful people in the demon clan, densely packed. Originally, the inner circle was full of strong people, and the weak ones were left on the periphery. However, at this time, the speed of the demons on the periphery to escape was too slow, and as a result, it became a death warrant for the strong people in the inner circle, seriously delaying their escape. After an hour, the battle was nearing its end, because the encirclement was too large. When the circle expanded to a certain extent, everyone could no longer catch up. At this time, the earth was already full of corpses, and the world was full of pungent blood. In line with the principle of not chasing after an enemy who is desperate, Suyu gave the order and began to retreat, because the enemy was too scattered and it was too strenuous to chase, and the team was scattered, which could easily lead to danger. Now that they had won a great victory, they must not let their joy turn into sorrow. What excited Suyu the most was that almost every soldier of the more than 30 million Southern Alliance had advanced, and the 8 captains had all advanced to the 8 Meridian's Heavenly Saint. and she actually felt like she had touched a bottleneck. At this moment, she still seemed to be in a dream, afraid that she would wake up from the dream accidentally. The same was true for other strong men. Many people's thighs and arms were pinched with countless bruises, and many people pinched each other to verify whether they were dreaming. A bloody battle, more than 30 million people advanced at the same time, which had completely subverted everyone's imagination. When everyone returned, Long Chun was sitting cross-legged in the void, regulating his breath. At this time, when they looked at Long Chun again, their eyes were full of admiration and awe. They didn't know what happened specifically, but they knew that all of this was arranged by Long Chun. In their eyes, Long Chun was a godlike existence. When everyone returned, Long Chun opened his eyes, came to everyone, and smiled. Congratulations to everyone. Of course, congratulations to me too. We all have a pleasant cooperation and have made a lot of money. At this time, Long Chun returned to his previous relaxed appearance, without any airs or the majesty of a master, just like a naughty boy next door, with a harmless appearance. Yes, it's a pleasure to cooperate with you. So you wanted to say something to thank them? But in an instant, she didn't know what to say. After saying this, she felt a little regretful. What is a pleasant cooperation? Everything they have is given to them by Long Chun. Don't be so nervous. Let me explain to you. The reason why you can break through is all thanks to the demons. Killing Tian Tong, he sacrificed his blood soul in exchange for the luck of the demon ancestors. When he died, his luck burned, and all the power he absorbed was returned. This battlefield changed, and the demon cubs of the demon clan were killed, and the power of heaven and earth will bless you. This is a kind of luck against the sky, and you caught up with it. Hee. How about it? It feels good, right? Long Chun explained to everyone to ease the atmosphere. After hearing Long Chun's explanation, everyone understood what was going on. But if it weren't for Long Chun's guidance, they would never have such luck. To put it bluntly, all this was still given to them by Long Chun. So you took a deep breath, trying to calm down, and said, Long Chun, thank you very much this time. We will remember this favor. Although we know that you are unlikely to need us, as long as you need us, just say a word and our lives will be yours. The 8 captains and everyone else looked at Long Chun with burning eyes, and their eyes were full of excitement. Su Yu's words represented their words. They also knew that Long Chun was too strong and might not need them in his lifetime, but as long as there was a chance, even if they lost their lives, they would repay this favor. That's too polite. The strong will be surpassed one day, and the weak will become stronger one day. As I once said, if you are born like an ant, you should have lofty ambitions. If your life is thinner than paper, you should have an unyielding heart. The world is uncertain, you and I are both dark horses. If the world is determined, who dares to say that I can't reverse it? Work hard. Opportunities are always reserved for those who are prepared. Otherwise, when the opportunity comes, if you don't have the strength, you can only watch it slip away. I believe we will meet again in the near future. After Long Chun greeted everyone with a smile, his figure flashed and he disappeared in front of everyone. Live like an ant. You should have the ambition of a swan. Life is thinner than paper. You should have an unyielding heart. The world is not yet determined. You and I are both dark horses. If the world is determined, who dares to say that I can't reverse it? Long Chun left, and everyone was still immersed in Long Chun's words. It was the first time in their lives that they heard such shocking words. Long Chun's voice struck the depths of their souls. No one does not desire to become stronger, but reality is always so cruel. To become a strong person, you not only need talent, diligence, and a strong leader, but also luck, background, resources, connections, etc., none of which can be missing. Although they are already very strong, they are still too far away from the real super strong. That gap sometimes makes people breathless and desperate. Countless people don't say it on the surface, but they have already bowed to fate in their hearts. However, today, Long Chun's words gave them a little courage to fight against fate and ignited their will to not accept their fate and not admit defeat. Being called a warrior by such a person, everyone should never underestimate themselves again. Suyu took a deep breath and said, "Otherwise it would be the greatest disrespect to Long Chun and the greatest humiliation to ourselves." Everyone remembered at this time that Long Chen had always called them warriors. When they thought of this, their blood instantly became hot. Even Long Chen respected them so much, what reason did they have to be unconfident? "Let's go. From today on, we have to work harder." Long Chen said that we will meet again. When we meet again, we must not let him down. Suyu waved her hand and led everyone away from the battlefield. However, this battle became a turning point in their destiny. Long Chen's words opened the door to the world of the strong for them.